Hey, did you notice yourself, Oscar, there for a second? I forgot to mention it.
The good days then, mate. The good
Yeah.
days.
Do you
Old
remember
and
that?
washed now.
Yeah. Do you remember that with Match Day Max outside
Yeah,
Dellen
that was
Road? Yeah,
promotion
yeah.
year, that.
Yeah, yeah, it
I
was.
remember
Yeah.
that well.
Yeah, Nottingham Forest. We were both fresh faced then, mate. We're
I
both
know, I
aged, I
know.
think. We're both aged.
Washed now, I'm
Yeah.
afraid.
Like Jack
Go
says,
off.
please like the stream, guys. Listen, we're here to chat the Euros. Myself, everyone's favourite Italian, adopted Spanishman in Oscar, and of course a Bundesliga nut, if you like, in Lockie. Unfortunately, I don't know many Spaniards or Germans. I only know one person outside of the UK, and that's Andrea, the Italian. So this is the best you've got, folks. But apologies.
I'm part
Go on.
French as well, a little bit. Is that...
Okay. Bonjour.
Yeah, no, I don't speak it.
Okay. I think I can say hello ciao.
Let's hear it. Ciao.
Ciao. Yeah. Hola.
Yeah, see.
And then guten Tag. That's that. Is that good morning? Is that good morning in German?
Good morning,
Yeah.
mate.
Exactly.
Guten Tag.
Guten Tag.
Tag.
Hello, all that jazz. Yes, Oliver,
Dobro
the
jutro.
boys. The boys are in town. Look, what we're going to be doing, folks, welcome anyway, right? As you know, I'm going to be covering the Euros throughout the month, the Festival of Football from the 14th to the 14th. It starts on Friday. What we thought we would do is just get together, dive into some of the key players, ones to watch, give our predictions for the tournament winners. We're going to give player of the tournament, young player of the tournament, maybe ones to watch, both from a playing perspective and from team perspective. Explore some of the standout teams, some of the standout players, the likes of Mbappe, De Bruyne, Bellingham, Florian Wirtz, everyone except an Italian player. No, Di Marco maybe, I don't know. Andrea will
Junior
tell us
fantasy
more.
team.
Yeah, he is, exactly. And then what we're going to do is go through the group stages, predict the group stages, and then at the end, obviously, see which teams will progress. I'd love to be able to then go into the quarters and the semis and all that jazz, but third place is a bit of a minefield. I think the way it works is, folks, I did do a little bit of research. The 4 best third place teams also progress to the next round. But yeah, look, you could get 3 draws and still progress. So as Portugal did a couple of years back and ended up winning the tournament. But we're not going to get into that. We'll cross that bridge when it comes. We're just going to focus solely on the group stages for now. But before we get into it, what we're going to do is go through Group A, Group B, C, and right through. But let's find out how everyone is and if the excitement is building. Oscar, welcome back, mate. It's great to have you back. Are you excited for the Euros?
Absolutely, mate. I think you've got some really, really good teams. I don't think there's a clear outstanding favourite. I know the bookies say different in terms of England and France, but I think there's 4 or 5 teams who are really, really close together. And I think there's a lot of teams just below that who can also do a lot of good things. I think there's a lot of top players. And I think the problem with international football the last couple of years has been it has dropped off in the last sort of 10 years. But I think this does feel like a tournament where international football can come back a little bit. I think you've got a fantastic host nation as well. Germany, I can't think of a much better place in Europe for a tournament than Germany, to be honest, outside of England, of course. But yeah, it's a fantastic host country to have. And yeah, I can still remember Germany 2006, the World Cup. That was one of my first international tournaments. Legendary tournament, that one. Andrea, I can see Andrea nodding. I can see him nodding. Another scabby penalty shootout win for Italy, of course, on that one. Zidane, it was never a red card for Zidane, that. I will stand by that. Never a red card. The game has gone soft. Soft for the game.
Yeah, definite 50-50, wasn't it? It was a 50-50. Lockie, mate, how are you, mate? Are you excited for the Euros, the Festival of Football?
I am now. I've not really took much notice of it recently, to be honest. I've just been following with Leeds and stuff and trying to smash.
You're too busy watching players in the arse end of nowhere, right,
yeah.
mate? That's
I know. I've got a weird. I enjoy it. Yeah, watching Slovakian third league and stuff like that. But yeah, yeah. As of last 2 days, it's been ramping up now. You've seen all the training videos and stuff like that, and it's once the first game kicks off. Who is it? I don't know. It's Germany and someone, obviously.
Germany, Scotland, mate.
Yeah, once that game kicks off, I'll be ready. Then I'll be like, "Oh, where's England coming?" And all that stuff. So, yeah, I love it. I can't wait, man.
Yeah,
can't wait.
Same. Andrea, how are you feeling? Obviously, the holders, mate. You know, you must be. Are you worried that you're going to lose your title and that, or is it just a foregone conclusion?
No, it's just a foregone conclusion. I don't think we'll win it again, honestly. So we've come to terms with that. We have a young team, so we just get into the team, hoping to get at least to the quarterfinals, probably. It was a good friendly against Bosnia, honestly. Very well played, despite the result, just 1-0, honestly. But yeah, it's like in the UK, everyone is waiting for excitement, or we already organized a watch along, mixing a birthday party of one of my friends with the game against Albania, which is like a derby for us because there's a large Albanian community here in Italy. So we'll be very close because there's many who are born here, of course. So yeah, I think that I agree with Oscar. There's no clear favorite, honestly. There's a few good teams, honestly, but there's also, for me, there's also the opportunity that Darko was like in 2016 with Portugal, was not the better team, has the opportunity to win it, honestly. It's so open on Germany, absolutely best host for this tournament because it's right in the middle of Europe. So, and they have very large communities, we be like playing at home. Turks will be like playing at home, because the Italian and Turkish community are very large in Germany. So, and many like France, they just cross the border, like Poland, they cross the border. It would be a very, very exciting tournament, honestly. Also on the stands for me, because it'd be like very similar to what happened in France in 2016 for me. So really looking forward to it, honestly. And hopefully we retain the trophy, but it's like a 30% probability, percentage.
Yeah, it's great, man. I can't wait for it. I honestly can't. Like I say, it's wall to wall, innit? I've got like my calendar's basically blocked out for the next 2 weeks. To be honest, I said to my girlfriend, she went, "What are we gonna do?" I went, "What are you doing the 27th of June? I might have some time there in between the end of the group stage and the start of the next round. I can fit you in there. Outside of that, I'm pretty chocker. It is what it is." But yeah, let's get straight into it then without further ado and all that jazz, because we've got a lot to get through. We'll start obviously with Group A, which kicks off on Friday. Of course, Germany taking on Scotland. I am going to zoom in so it's a little bit clearer. Lads, do we think this is just a foregone conclusion for the winner, and it's a case of who takes second spot? And of course, if they do well, one of the teams can get enough points to maybe still progress, finishing in third. Oscar, you're nodding away. Is it Germany and done?
Yeah, I think Germany win all 3 games, to be honest. I know Germany have been off it last couple of tournaments. Yeah. There's no question about that. But one thing I can't ignore, I'm not going to give away who I think will win the tournament, but one thing I can't ignore about Germany is I think they have the best manager, if not the second best manager at the whole tournament. I think he's genuinely world-class, Julian Nagelsmann, and I think there's a good chance he could make the difference for Germany. Another big thing is Toni Kroos coming back. The fact that Germany have got so much experienced winners in that team, Kroos, Gundogan, Rudiger, have had fantastic individual seasons, Florian Wirtz, Musiala. I just can't see how Scotland, Hungary or Switzerland, especially away from home for all 3 teams, are going to stop Germany realistically. But I do think 3 teams progress from this group, and one of them is from Britain. I've got to say, I do really fancy Scotland to find a way through. Whether it's third or second, I'm not sure, but I've got a feeling Scotland are going to have a decent little tournament, to be fair. But Switzerland are the one. I just don't feel it with Switzerland. They're normally a safe bet, Switzerland. Yeah. To always get out of the group, but never quite get past the last 16. But
is Xhaka out as well? I swear Xhaka might be out, no?
No.
Really?
No.
That's even worse for them. He's like their only hope.
No, he's in the team, lads. He's in the team.
Is he?
Probably,
right, okay.
Maybe he's going to miss the start, probably.
Because did he miss the Europa League final? Xhaka?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think either way, though, as good as Xhaka's been unreal this season, obviously, but I think with Switzerland, they don't feel like the safe bet this time around. Defensively, despite having a Kanji at the back, they've conceded a lot of goals, which isn't very Swiss-like. And Murat Yakin, their coach, is under a lot of pressure. There was actually, I read 442 before, they're saying it's a possibility Yakin could actually get sacked mid-tournament because he's that unpopular at this moment in time. It could be like an AFCON kind of...
I reckon they should. I imagine they're drafting Big Sam to save him from the
Sam,
from the drop.
Learning the lingo kind of thing, but I don't think there's a big man up front. So even if Big Sam comes in, I just can't see it being saved. Switzerland, I don't think we're having a bigger slot, but Switzerland are on it for me if we are having one.
Yeah, interesting because they always usually sneak through, don't they, Switzerland? They're kind of like the, I guess, kind of Brentford or Bristol City of the of the Euros and World Cup. They just get through, don't they? Do the thing and get knocked out in 16. So, but Hungary though, and Andrea will be able to tell you about Marco Rossi and what he's done for Hungary, and they're feeling good. Let me tell you about that. I've been listening to some stuff about them, and they're confident. They really believe in the manager. I believe has he got a lifetime contract there if he wants one or something like that?
Wow.
Yeah, he's gonna get the citizenship too. You know, it's probably just published his autobiography, bestseller in Ukraine, in Hungary. Sorry. So it's very, very popular. You know, he's behind the renaissance of Hungarian football back to the Puskás days. You know, now he's brought the excitement back. You know, in recent times.
So they'll fight a lot for him. They'll be good. You know, I think Germany will win it. But again, I think it'll be easy. Like I said, Scotland, you know, they've got Warriors in there as well. You know, they'll take some beating. Well, Scotland, I think it won't be an easy one for them. That second place is interesting.
Yeah. It's goals for Scotland, though, isn't it? Because I think, Lyndon Dykes obviously got injured. I think Shea Adams is probably, unless he goes with McTominay, I think. McTominay probably play further forward like he did a little bit for Manchester United, perhaps. But I think with and to be honest, you could say the same for all. I don't know if this is a wild take, but for Germany, obviously, I think they've got Fulkrug and Havertz like leading the line. I think that's the way he'll go. Yeah. Am I wild to say that doesn't smack loads of goals, or is that a wild take?
It depends on Germany. Oh, sorry, mate.
No, go, Oscar.
The only thing I say with Germany, it does depend. Germany could very possibly go all the way. It depends on which version of Havertz they get, honestly, because Musiala and Wirtz, massive fan of both. Absolutely unbelievable players to watch. Two players I'm really excited to see, especially if they're in the same team. But I still think they need a focal point to play off, in that kind of sense. Obviously, Boniface for Leverkusen, Kane for Bayern Munich, they work really well in tandem, respectively, of those two players. With Havertz, it's a massive drop-off in that kind of sense. And you think, does that impact Musiala and Wirtz's own individual performances? But ultimately, Havertz, it depends what version of him you get. If you get the second half of the season, where I think he was one of Arsenal's best attackers, really, in the second bit of the season, I think they'll be fine. But if it's the Havertz, which is like lacking in confidence, the first bit of the season where he's not really a 10, not really a number 9, Germany might be lacking goals, and that's a fair shout, Joe. 100%.
Yeah,
I think honestly, Fulkrug may be a surprise, honestly, for me, because I see Fulkrug be a factor for Germany in this tournament more than Havertz so far for me, because in the past, especially at the recent tournaments, I think he struggled a bit, and I think by the way they play Fulkrug, especially being active to him with Terzic at Borussia Dortmund, I think he could have more of an impact, than Havertz at the beginning. But yeah, I agree. I think Germany it will be the number one here because the talent that they have. Of course, last tournament from Toni Kroos, they have very good players who are making the debut, in the Euros. Robert Andrich, Mittelstad, for example, Jonathan Tah. All players of course.
Are you surprised to see him drop or not take Hummels?
I'm a little bit, for the experience, but I get the selection, because in the end, he took, for example, Schotterbeck from Borussia, and other players like Tah, Rudiger, Anton had a great season for Stuttgart, very good player, absolutely. I think, of course, Stuttgart are playing in the Champions League next season, so he will stay there, but he's a Premier League player, honestly. If you want to take a young, not so young now because he's 27, but an upcoming player, I think Anton is worthy a look, like what we did with Koch when we took Robin Koch, from Freiburg, at a similar move, But yeah, I think with Raum, Gross, they have good players, they have good talent all around, and especially Wirtz will be. I think Wirtz and Musiala will be key factors, and they still have the experience of Thomas Müller. For the others, I think. For me, overall, Scotland has the worst squad between these four, honestly, because of the defense. For me, because of course there's good players.
What are you saying about Liam Cooper, mate? What are you trying to say?
No, I'm not saying that but yeah, you won't start, of course, but they have Porteous, Henry, all those players there. They're good players, but in the championship, if you compare them with the strikers they're going to play against, they're going to struggle massively. And pound for pound, the defense, for example, of Hungary and Switzerland, are way better. Switzerland is a young squad. In the end, they still have experienced players like Cher, Chaka, Elvedi to Akanji, in the end. And of course, upcoming players like Okafor, like, for example, others, Ebischer, Ndoye had a great season for Bologna, Freuler experience, Embolo, Zakaria, they have good players. But overall, I agree with Oscar, and I think they are a meh, like a question mark at the minute. Switzerland, I can figure them out, honestly, because I don't think they have a good mix between experienced players and young upcoming players. I see Hungary more favorable in terms of getting forward. I really do, because they have a massive support away from home. First and foremost, they have great fans who follow them everywhere, basically. And Marco Rossi is a great manager, especially tactically. And his story is great because he didn't get a job after some bad experiences in the Italian third league, and clubs were offering him a place in the Italian third league, but they were saying, you have to pay to coach, you have to bring a sponsor. So he refused because of his values to take those offers, and he was jobless. Then he went to Hungary on a visit to visit one of his friends who owns a restaurant in Budapest. And at this restaurant, he met a common friend, the director of football of Honvéd. He became the manager of Honvéd, and from then on, he won the league in Hungary, then moved to Slovakia, Donetsk Castrate, and then he became the manager of Hungary, qualified for 2 tournaments, barely missed out on the World Cup. So, and they have good players, lads. Andras Schäfer, Adam Noj, Szoboszlai, of course, Barnabas Varga.
Do you think
Varga
it's a massive tournament for Szoboszlai? Obviously, it didn't
Absolutely.
go maybe as well as he would have liked at Liverpool. He started off well and then he sort of tailed off, but he's their main man, right? Everything goes through him.
Absolutely. And he missed also with Euro 2020 due to injury, But if you look Hungary, they did great. They didn't go through, but barely at Euro 2020, And they were in a group with Portugal, Germany, and France last time, and they did well with all these teams, They lost against Portugal, drew against France, and barely lost against Germany, but they were the better team in that game against Germany, And they have so many good players, young players, Of course, there's Kerkes from Bournemouth, Bondegush Bolla, Schäfer, Callum Stiles, of course. I think he's good for the way they play too. Ronan Shalai, many players. I'm looking at the squad. That's why I'm looking on the right.
I heard, because obviously I've been doing plenty of listening, trying to get up. I thought Callum Stiles didn't make it, no?
No, he's in. Yeah.
Definitely? Okay.
Yeah, he's in. They have Barnabas Varga, who scored plenty of goals in the Hungarian league from Ferencváros. Attila Shalai, another good defender for me. Bottom Balog for Parma had a good season. They have very, very some good players. And I think they have the good mix because they play like a unit. They are aggressive. They are constantly on the ball. They put pressure on you. That's the way they play, And they are absolutely a good team to watch. So I think they will be the surprise in this group, honestly, more than Switzerland, honestly.
Well, there we go. Well, shall we move on? I think we've done a pretty decent run
summary,
around on summary. Definitely. This is for me the group of death, I would say. Out of all of them, you've got 3 top nations in Spain, Croatia, and Italy. Albania, like I say, I don't know much about. Armando Broja, I think, is Albanian. Outside of that, I'm scratching my head. I can't lie to you, lads. But they're probably, listen, any team in Europe, a lot of these lesser nations, if you like, they're always tough to break down, aren't they? If we're being totally honest. So this is, for me, the group of death. Let's start with you, Oscar. Obviously, you have a keen eye on Spanish football, being a big Barcelona fan. Talk to me about Spain and their chances in this one, mate.
It's an interesting one with Spain. I think fundamentally they'll be one of the best teams to watch at the tournament. I'll say that no matter what. I think there will be a real entertaining one at both ends of the pitch. It depends on certain players in terms of how far this Spain team's going to go. I think fundamentally you start with the captain, Alvaro Morata, which still seems mental to me that Morata's the captain. I actually rated him more than most as well, Morata, but there's no getting away from the fact that in the big moments, the do-or-die moments, Morata has fallen short. And for this Spain team, especially as it's quite a young team, I think he has to step up in this tournament. I think you need 4 or 5 goals from him in sort of like the group stages and early knockout rounds. You need a goal a game from him. You need a big performances from Alvaro Morata to start off with. And unfortunately, it's a case of, can he do that? Although first half of the season, he was in absolutely fantastic form for Atletico. I think he's had the second best goal scoring season of his career. But that is a big issue in terms of if Morata it doesn't work out with, you're then looking at in terms of natural goal scorers in that Spain team, it's a little bit thin on the ground. Obviously, Joselu has had an amazing season at Real Madrid, hasn't quite been able to translate that form into a Spanish shirt as such. But again, great option off the bench. But it feels like maybe Spain need a little bit more. But having said that, if Morata turns up, they've got a big chance here, Spain. I really do believe that. I think something else to talk about is obviously Spain are not what they were 10 years ago or 8 years ago, in terms of back end of Xavi, back end of Iniesta, Busquets, Fabregas, David Silva, all these, the best midfield I've ever seen in my life, to be honest, in terms of the options they had. You'll never, ever see anything like that again. And it feels like any Spain team now is always, rightly so, going to be held in comparison to that. But this Spain team in midfield has got an outrageous options. There's no question about it. They've got the best, for me, number 6 in the world in Rodri. Pedri.
I thought you meant Declan Rice was Spanish.
See, I knew you were going to.
I'm joking. I am joking. No,
joking. Declan Rice is second. Declan Rice is definitely second. But for me, Rodri's got to be it for me. Pedri, I mean, is in phenomenal form at this moment in time. Had a great back end of the season for Barca, coming back from injury, being absolutely bang on it in the friendlies as well. Picks up a few goals, a few assists, and we all know about Pedri. He was absolutely fantastic in Euro 2021. It's just a case of, can Pedri stay fit? If he stays fit, he'll be one of the best players at the tournament. One thing that is a bit crazy from Spain is Pau Kubasi not going. I cannot understand that at all. I can see it from the point of view of they don't want to rush him into too much too soon because they've made that mistake with Pedri in terms of playing too much football. But you look at Kubasi, he is absolutely outstanding on the ball. If anything, one of the best in Europe on the ball. Still has elements of his game to improve defensively, but that feels like a big one, not taking Kubasi. Because Laporte, obviously, he's had that season in Saudi. I can't pronounce his name to save my life, but Lenormand as well. Very French. It's a French centre-back pairing, and it just doesn't seem right for a Spain team to have Aymeric Laporte and Ruben de Lenormand as well. It just doesn't feel like, it feels like a France backline, not a Spanish backline. But it's not. I'm not got a lot of confidence in that, to be honest. And then physically as well, Balde and Gavi picking up the injuries. It's a massive blow, especially Gavi. You look at it, what could have been a midfield of Rodri, Gavi, Pedri is best of the tournament for me. As good as people like Mikel Merino are, that is a bit of a drop-off as well. So there's certain areas. I think the midfield is still very strong, but Spain, quite simply, at centre-back, centre-forward, and in goal, haven't got the same level of quality of your Englands, your Germanys, your Frances, and your Portugals. Unai Simon, a lot of mistakes in him, to be honest. A lot of mistakes. He's had a better season at Bilbao, but in the Spanish shirt, he's had some poor tournaments, especially 2022 World Cup. I think he almost cost Spain getting out of the group on his own. In that, he was trying his best, to be honest, in terms of some of the mistakes he was making. But that's like the negative side of his Spanish team. You've got a lot of excitement as well. The winger pairing of Lamine Yamal and Nico Williams it's breathtaking, to be honest, in terms of the aesthetics it can produce. That as a winger pairing, that is absolutely ridiculous. But especially Lamine Yamal, I mean, I cannot exaggerate. Obviously, everyone knows I'm a Barcelona fan as well. Lamine Yamal has been Barca's best player this season. He's 16. He's carrying that Barcelona attack at 16. Some of the stuff he's doing is just unbelievable. I would genuinely say, listen, obviously we've had Pele at 17, we've had Messi at sort of 18, 19, 20 kind of thing. There is genuinely a case he's the most talented 16-year-old like we've ever seen, kind of thing. At 16, I can't think of anyone who's impacting games.
Archie Gray.
I was going to say it.
Who's that?
Archie Gray.
Archie Gray.
Archie Gray. Yeah. Okay. It's Yeah. I mean, listen, Lamine Yamal, what he's producing is ridiculous. Can he maintain that? Obviously, that's a big question, but he is definitely the one to watch in this Spain team. Yamal and Pedri linking up on that right-hand side is going to be a thing of beauty, really. And obviously, Grimaldo and Nico Williams as well. I think the thing with Nico Williams is he's a bit like Morata. I'm a massive fan of his, but he's still got to improve certain elements of his game in terms of decision making. There's still elements of his game where it's a little bit of frustration with him, but when he's on it, he is absolutely unplayable. I remember at the start of the season, middle of the season, Bilbao played Barcelona in the Copa del Rey, and my word, he just absolutely tore Barcelona to pieces. So much so, Barca are very much interested in Nico Williams. So it's a big tournament for him from that point of view. But physically, I can't ignore those Gavi, Balde, lack of availability, and obviously no Kubasi as well.
Bro, you've not mentioned Danny Olmo either, right? And he's in my fantasy team. Are you telling me I need to be removing Danny Olmo? What about Oyarzabal as well? Oyarzabal, is he involved now?
Yeah, he's on Oyarzabal.
Yeah, I think Nico Williams and Lamine Yamal have got those winger spots on lock to start with, especially. I think maybe
I'll be changing my fantasy team then.
Yeah,
cheers, bro.
Good options. They'll get points off the bench. I definitely think that. Yarzabal's on absolute fire in the last couple of games. But no, I don't. I'm not going to say I'm guaranteeing it, but I don't think they'll be starting to start with. I think Yamal and Nico Williams, they're the players that, listen, we all know what Spain are going to be like. Spain, it's going to be 1,000 passes. It's going to be the international version of Samson in terms of pass kind of thing. But Lamine Yamal and Nico Williams just give that attack something different in terms of pace. We don't often see Spanish players with pace and power and the ability to take on players, not very Spanish-like players. So very interesting to watch those two. The only question mark I've got as well on Spain from a managerial point of view is De La Fuente. I'm not sure he's at that level to... Spain have got gaps in the squad. I'm not sure tactically he can bridge those gaps. He's not like a, say, for example, Nagelsmann. I just don't think... I think he can bridge the gap. I'm not sure De La Fuente is going to be able to do that as well. And there's a lot of criticism of him already as well from the media. I think had they had Luis Enrique going into this tournament, I'd have said Spain would be one to watch to win it. I just don't think De La Fuente, I'm not sure. I don't think he'll be able to elevate
I agree.
enough.
I agree. Absolutely. With De La Fuente, because, like Southgate, he made the big step from the under-21s, where, of course, he won the European Championship and the Euros under-21 in 2019. Then he made the gap after Luis Enrique left, after the World Cup, But, yeah, I agree with Oscar in that. I think they have... the pairing of Laporte and Lenormand. Of course, Lenormand is probably going to move to Atletico Madrid, so he's a very good player. He had a very good season with the Real Sociedad, but, they're not very mobile, they're very strong in terms of tempo and all of that, of physicality, matching the physicality, but with the ball, honestly, Spain always had, ball possession play-based players, they're like, of course, Puyol, Piqué, Sergio Ramos, and all those. Of course, last time they had Pau Torres, for example, and I think Eric Garcia too at the last Euro, but yeah, I think the defense, of course, I really like Grimaldo and Daniel Vivian from Athletic Bilbao, but I don't think, of course, he will start. They have Carval, they have the experience too, because they have Carval, Jesus Navas, Rodri, of course, Morata, and of course, all those players. Also Josep Perez making the squad was a bit of a surprise. 30 years old now. Lux will be happy probably. But yeah, Mikel Merino, Fabian Ruiz, they have good players, they have a good mix, because those players are like in their prime, because Fabian Ruiz is 28, then almost 26, Nacho, also 34, after a good season with Real Madrid, making the squad. Dani Carvajal, 32. I agree on Unai Simon, very good keeper, but not top level. He has some mistakes in him, I really like, and Oscar hasn't mentioned him yet. All the other midfielders that he mentioned, of course, are great. But for me, I really love Martin Zubimendi from Real Sociedad.
Yeah.
He's great. Absolutely. Look out for him, honestly, because he's very, very good.
I reckon, after this tournament.
Yeah.
And just one other one, you've just reminded me, Alex Baena as well, from Villarreal. He is like, I wouldn't say, listen, it's a big comparison, this, but he does remind me a lot of David Silva in terms of
true.
Valencia, kind of thing. He'll be one from the bench, and Fermin Lopez from the bench as well, who's had a super season. Goal scoring midfielder. And yeah, there's a lot of good options there, mate. There's a lot of good options in that Spain team.
Just the number 9, I agree with you. Ozelo and Morata, a little bit, no, something is missing there.
Let's move on from this Spain loving. And what you're saying, Lockie? Do we need to move on a little bit from this Spain loving?
Right.
Yeah, we do.
So what I'm going to say is, for me, I think about all the past winners, all the teams that did well. What was the one thing that they all had? Age and experience. Every single one of them. Look at the Italian side. Like we were all saying when we were playing against England, weren't we? They're all old. They battered us. They bullied us. They completely destroyed us. Man for man. Who remember on Saka? Everyone were getting annoyed because he did Saka. But of course you're going to do that. That's what... And when you get in these late tournaments, whenever really, recently, in my times anyway, that I can think of, did a bunch of young talented lads win it? They never did. I think of Greece. I remember that, and I was like, wow, how have they won it? Because they had so much experience and they had an identity where, and this is important for national football, you don't need the best coach. You need a coach that identifies with the style of play the country requires, if that makes sense. And again, Mancini at Italy just worked, didn't it? You know what I mean? With all those players, experienced players, that really worked. And that's why I see people saying Croatia are old. That's a good thing for me. Yeah. That's a good thing because... And you think about the past experiences they've had getting close. Remember, they beat England. They've been close. I'm not saying they're going to win it, by the way. I'm just saying, don't count them out. I know dark horses. I think they could go far. I genuinely do because they've got so much experience, and that is everything in these tournaments for me. Kids can win you 1 or 2 games, but when you really get to the crunch time, the quarterfinals, the last 16, even the final group games, which you need to win, more than often. Look at the guys who've won it, and it's the old players, it's the experienced players, not the quick ones, not the skillful ones.
Yeah, I was going to ask you that because, like, it almost is like a broken record. Every tournament we go to Croatia and we go, surely they're too old now. Surely they're too old now. But it still seems to be the same heads, obviously. Like you mentioned, I think they finished second one year, third another year. Euros, they don't seem to do as well. I'm not sure. Maybe that's due to the level of competition in the Euros is up a level than the World Cup, if that makes sense. So maybe that's why. I think the last time was round of 16. But if anyone's going to upset the apple cart, because I think if a lot of people predict they put Spain and Italy first and second and Croatia in third. But I wouldn't think it's as cut and dry. I sort of tend to agree with Lockie a little bit in that respect that it wouldn't surprise me if they won each game, you know what I mean? Yeah. They have the quality to do it, Modric, Kovacic, you've got Brozovic, every single Kramaric, they've got them all, haven't they? You know what I mean?
And these people, this isn't club football, these are playing for the country. And we know when we played Croatia, it's same for Italy as well, they're willing to die for their country for Christensen used to play for these.
For these players, I die.
I die. I remember that. I was a little kid. I'm like, yeah. But they play with that, and that's what drags them through so much games. They don't outplay you. They just outthink you. They outsmart you. They out-experience you. That's the thing. Do you know what I mean? I think that can't be understated at all. Not just Croatia, by the way. A lot of these, even Belgium. They've got a lot of older players, but maybe now is their time. I don't know.
Modric has never been anything less than a 9 out of 10 in any tournament for Croatia. I can't think of one tournament where I thought he's not been one of the best midfielders. Even say the last Euros when they went out early. I just remember when England played Croatia at Wembley, he was the best player on the pitch by an absolute country mile for me. He is still amazing, and the good thing as well, he comes into this tournament quite fresh because he's not actually played that much football for Real Madrid in terms of previous years. And Vardiol, I mean, for me, is one of the best defenders in the world. Not just left backs. I just think, and technically, the way how good he is going.
Bro, in that World Cup, in that World Cup, Oscar, there was only Messi that.
Well, Messi's the only player I can remember who I've seen dribble past. Obviously, other players will dribble past him, but I can't think of another time where I've actually seen Vardiol look on the back foot.
He's the one that got away, because we're close together. I mean, and then he moved to RB Leipzig. Yeah, but you know what? Apart from the experience, of course, we mentioned Kovacic, Modric, Brozovic, Pasalic, all those players, Gvardiol too now, 22, but he plays like a veteran, absolutely. for me. Now they have also some good upcoming players like Borna Souza. He had a good World Cup. Another player that was linked to us when he was at Stuttgart, now at Ajax. Josip Šutalo, Ajax too. Of course, Kramaric, another experienced players. But look out, for example, for other players like Lovro Mayer. He is rumored to be, and when you see him play, he really reminds you of Modric, the early Modric when he was at Dinamo Zagreb and Tottenham. But also, and Loki will be bouncing with me in this one. Martin Baturina, from Dinamo Zagreb, But yeah, another player, I think he will go down. We'll talk about the defensive partnership of Spain. I think also that, probably they will play with either Šutalo and Pongracic. So look out for Pongracic because he had a great season in Serie A with Lecce. I think he's a very solid defender. He's really underrated. He was passed on, in the Bundesliga by Borussia Dortmund and Wolfsburg. Moved to Italy and he's had a great season. Was one of the best centre backs in Serie A. So certainly a player to look forward to. But yeah, overall, if you look at them, they have all the players basically. Also Perisic return, from Hajduk Split. All the players that made it to the semi-finals.
So much top level experience.
Yeah,
so
they play. Some of them played in a World Cup final. Let's remind ourselves that, and also in a World Cup semi-final in the space of 4 years. So absolutely, it's the time for them to make it to the Euros too. So, and us, Italy, always struggle against them. Absolutely, the last time we beat them, I think it was in 2006. So in a friendly after the World Cup.
Well, let's talk about your nation now, bro. The holders, Italy. Talk to me.
Yeah, a very different team, from 2 years ago, of course. We don't have Bonucci, we don't have Chiellini, Insigne, Immobile, Berardi's injured. Verratti, again, he moved to Qatar, so basically retired from international football. Not officially, but of course, moving to Qatar, you're not considered by Italy. So very young squad, absolutely. Of course, there's still Donnarumma, there's still Di Lorenzo, there's still Barella, for example, Chiesa. Those players, but we changed the core of the team. Jorginho is still there, of course, too. Yeah. But all the others basically are just young players, very good players in terms of talent. But yeah, they're at their first tournament. I think we have a good team for the way Spalletti wants to play. We're gonna play with a 3-4-2-1. So we have very similar to Inter because we have many Inter players. like Bastoni, Di Marco, Barella. So absolutely, you want to play like they play, because with Inzaghi they had very good seasons, reaching the Champions League final in the first season and then winning the league this season, But yeah, Scamacca is at a great season with Atalanta, so the number 9 spot is secured. The alternative is Retegui, a very upcoming player. I think he's very much a player that we will see in the Premier League at what point in the future, honestly, because he's a very good player in terms of how he moves, He's an Argentinian with Italian roots from Sicily, so he's being called up by Mancini. And then Spalletti still called him up when Mancini left, and he's a very good player. He's very similar to Scamacca, by the way he plays. So we have two very similar players up front. If one is not available, you have the other one. Then, of course, Chiesa, and we're going to play. We talked about Farke, when we said that we will play with 110 and a pure winger, if we change the formation. We play like that, probably, because we'll have Chiesa like a proper winger, playing like a second striker, and Frattesi will be like an adjointed midfielder going forward, making the central run, trying to make the running behind, as the other player behind Scamacca, probably. I think the midfield duo will be, of course, Barella and Jorginho. So you have two Euro winners there, and Barella had a great season. Honestly, another player that will be very good in the Premier League. Talking like Liverpool, those kind of teams, honestly. But yeah, overall, many players at their first tournament. The big worry, of course, is the back three, because I'm really not confident in, for example, Bastoni, Bongiorno, and Mancini. I will be more happy with, honestly, Calafiori. Very, very good player. Probably going to move from Bologna to Juventus. Very good player. He can also play in midfield. He's very skillful with the ball, reads the game well. Great tempo. Absolutely needs to start. Absolutely 100%. So I will be more okay with Calafiori. Bastoni in the middle, because he's the lower one, very slow on the ball. And Mancini was very aggressive. I really can see red cards coming from Mancini in this tournament, honestly. And that's the big worry for me. But yeah, overall, I think if we get through the group, honestly, I think we can go all the way to the semifinals or the final. Honestly, I think the big worry for us would be the group, like always, because we always struggle and are not confident in the group. But if we get through, we are more relaxed in terms of, okay, we got past our first goal. Now we have more confidence in our needs, in what we have in the team, and we have a very good manager. Honestly, that's the good thing. We have a manager that plays offensive football, that with the fullbacks going forward, with one midfielder going forward and one player as the playmaker. So with that, I'm okay. I'm confident. But of course, too many players are having their first tournament, honestly. So yeah, we'll see. It's not the team that it was like 3 years ago. We were a team full of veterans, not an aging team now, but yeah, good mix between veterans and young players. But many players at their first tournament, Scamacca, the big one, of course.
I can't believe Verratti hasn't been taken though. I can't lie to you, Andre. I mean, I'm a massive Verratti fan. I thought the last Euros, I think he was in a lot of ways, especially the final. The difference really. I mean, England just could not get the ball off Verratti. I know, obviously, his age and injuries, etc. But even off the bench, I'm kind of thinking, Verratti, what a great bit of experience to have in the team, and still a fantastic.
Where is he now?
He's in Qatar with Rodrigo.
He's in Qatar?
Yeah.
Okay.
Playing with Rodrigo. But yeah, I remember when I told you that Gnonto wasn't going to make the Italy squad when he played in the championship. It's the same here in terms of consideration when you move to Saudi Arabia and Qatar. If you move there, you're basically out of the national team, clearly, because they don't rate those leagues here. Of course, if you play in Qatar...
Rightly so, by the way.
Yeah, rightly so. I agree with that, honestly. Honestly, I agree with that.
Fair enough. But what I say, what I said about De La Fuente in terms of he can't make the difference in terms of the gaps in the squad. Spalletti's the opposite. Spalletti is a genius in terms of that regard, in terms of getting any team to play beautiful football. I mean, his Napoli team was just absolutely incredible, really. I think it's a shame we only really got 2 seasons, but 1 season of it at his absolute peak. And yeah, that team could have gone a long way. Yeah. But hopefully he can do a similar thing with Italy.
Yeah, hopefully.
For sure. Before we go any further, folks, I'm just going to quickly, because people keep asking me about the fantasy team, which I've put in the auto-join link, and some say it doesn't work. So just give me one moment while I just quickly... unless anyone wants to give us any chat on Albania. Armando Broja's all I've got for you.
I can very quickly, it will be a difficult game for us because many of them play in Italy, so they know us. They have Barami, Sassuolo, of course, Jim City, Atalanta, Usai, Lazio, Berisha. Basically, half of them play in Italy. Silvino is a very good manager. If you want to look out for some players, of course, Armando Broja, the main one. Then, of course, Aslani from Inter, very good playmaker in terms of how he reads the game. And another name, probably, if you want to take note of one, Mario Mitai, one of the fullbacks, play for Lokomotiv Moscow in Russia. But yeah, honestly, good team in terms of balance. But of course, they are the dark horses in this group. They have a good structure, but the players are not that talented in terms of compared to the other teams. So they will have to do like Hungary. They have to stick together, be aggressive, put pressure on the other teams in terms of bringing the physicality, because they have physical players. So yeah, honestly, I think it will be a difficult game for us because they know us really well, in terms of the many players that they play in Italy, like Ramadani used to play for Aberdeen, now for Lecce, for example.
That first round of games is going to be so crucial for this group, though, in that kind of sense. When you kind of slip up from Italy, it's going to give... Because I think Spain and Croatia play after, am I right in saying? They played before, sorry. They played before.
Yeah.
I can see a draw in that Spain-Croatia game. I just think both midfields will have large spells of possession, and I think Yamal versus Gvardiol will be a phenomenal battle on that right-hand side. But yeah, that first round of games feels pretty crucial to me in terms of deciding what's going to happen. Because one slip up from Italy, it'll give a lot of encouragement elsewhere.
100%. Yeah, what a time for Spain to play Croatia as well. If they are aging, they'll be fresh in the first game, won't they? So yeah, that'll be a good one, Spain Croatia.
Before their bedtime as well at 5:00. So
Jamie just quickly asked Andrea. He's asked a few times because he's got Jorginho on his fantasy team. Is he still on pens?
Last couple of games, no, I think. We haven't had a pen recently, but yeah, I think, honestly, in terms of penalties, I think Scamacca will be the one taking them, honestly, to be fair. Him or Barella. I think.
There you go. I'm getting rid of Danny Olmo. Jamie's quickly getting rid of Jorginho from his fantasy team. We're learning, people. We're learning. Although I've still got a feeling Danny Olmo will get goals, so I might just keep him. It is what it is.
Keep him.
Yeah, I would do. I would do as well. Right, let's move on to Group C, where the prospective winners are probably. If we talk about the other being the group of death, like, I don't want to over-egg it, but this has been quite favourable to England, really, on paper. And I know games aren't won on paper, and I know England will probably struggle, like, because this is what we do. But, like, for me, look, a few weeks back, I genuinely felt that England were going to win the Euros. As it's got closer, I've become a lot more tentative, and I don't actually see us as outright favourites anymore, because I do think there are other nations that have a better stacked squad than us in all areas. I think the big issue for me is defensively for England. Obviously, everyone mocks Harry Maguire, but as actually losing Harry Maguire has put the shits up me a little bit. Yeah. Like, we're going to probably be playing with, say, like the first game, we're probably going to be playing with a whole new back line that's probably never played together. You'll have Trippier at left back, probably Mark Guehi. Will Stones make it? I'm not too sure. And then probably Kyle Walker at right back. I do rate Pickford. I don't know. I think that's where the issue is. And it's just whether or not, for me, Southgate can get it right further up the pitch. That front six, if you like, including the midfielders. Who's he going to go with? You know, where will he play Foden? Will he start? He's going to start Saka, isn't he? He's going to start Saka. Totally fine with that, right? Do you then envisage that he goes Foden out on the left, Kane, and then he has Bellingham in the 10 with Rice and would it be Mainu, do you think, alongside him? Like, Oscar, how do you think he'll go, Southgate, in them?
Yeah, I mean, I totally agree with you, mate. I think the quality is all there to win this tournament for England. They've got all the pieces they need, really, apart from maybe alongside Stones. But really, it's something you can compensate because you've got one of the best holding midfielders in the world who's absolutely fantastic in the big games. Has probably been England's best player for probably the last 4 or 5 years in Declan Rice in front of him. So that can be compensated. Pickford, I think, is in great form. He will have a lot to do at this tournament, no matter what. I think that's pretty inevitable. But I'm the same as you in terms of the defence. I think as much as Walker has in the past been extremely solid for England, I think he's made mistakes this season. I think second bit of the season, there's been moments where not so much he's been out of position, just made some crazy decisions. And I think going forward as well, is he giving England enough? You know, when I think always the case at the right back has been against Trent has been the fact of how good Walker is defensively. But that drop off in Walker in that regard makes me think Trent has to be in there. And I personally think Trent should be in the team no matter what, whether he's at right back or midfield, because there's a simple thing here. His delivery is second to probably only Kevin De Bruyne in that kind of regard. He's absolutely fantastic with his delivery. He's got Harry Kane, Jude Bellingham, two of the biggest threats in the world in the penalty area to aim at, both with the head or with the feet. They get on the end of crosses fantastically well. It feels to me like that has to be something that Southgate builds in, whether that's alongside Rice, whether that's at right back. I feel that has to be done. I think another big issue as well is on that left-hand side. If Luke Shaw's not fit, I think Phil Foden on the left wing is like a false winger, sort of winger stroke 10, as a hybrid kind of thing. Works great when you've got Luke Shaw to keep the width on that side. When you've got Kieran Trippier there, who's, again, defensively questionable this season, totally right-footed, it doesn't feel as much of a good balance that. I'd almost be tempted to say, and I really like Anthony Gordon, I'd be tempted to say you might as well play a natural winger out there and in that kind of regard. And it feels like Southgate's going to have to make some bold calls from time to time. And to be fair, in the Euros...
Do you think his selection, though, did, though, Oscar? Like, for me...
His squad,
his squad.
There was a few things, though. I think in terms of Grealish, I think probably should have been selected in terms of what he can do off the bench in terms of keeping the ball. Yeah. You know, but that's probably not going to test us as much in the group stages, but probably in the latter stages when you want someone just to keep the ball and win free kicks and things like that. It's that's obviously a big one. I mean, I really like Branthwaite. I can't lie. Yeah. I was very surprised to not see him selected in the squad at all. I think he is.
I agree. Absolutely.
Feels like the most natural partner to John Stones. And listen, John Stones, I think he's absolutely phenomenal, John Stones, by the way, but he's clearly not fit.
He's not fit, is he?
He's had some
fit.
Last 3 games, the FA Cup, both games for England, he's looked so un-John Stones-like to me.
He missed training again today as well, this time with illness, apparently. So it's like...
If you lose in John Stones, it's then Dunk, Guehi.
Were you got in the first game?
We have, I think it's Slovenia. Let me just double check. I'll double check for you. No, Serbia. Sorry.
Ooh.
So yeah, exactly.
You need to have stone lads because
Mitrovic and Vlahovic.
Dunk gets bullied by physical centre forwards, and I've just looked at those 3 teams in our group. So you got Sesko for Slovenia, Hodgland obviously for Denmark, and obviously Mitrovic and Vlahovic for Serbia. That is traditionally strikers that Lewis Dunk looks absolutely horrific against, to be honest.
Am I being too harsh on Dunk? But I just don't think he's international quality, personally. He's not, man.
His form's terrible as well. It's not just a case of last year, fair enough, he had a great season for Brighton. I think he's been a consistent performer for Brighton, but the defensive record for Brighton doesn't lie. You know, he's seen him get bodied by Luton Town away kind of thing and get beat, losing 4-0, and 3 of the 4 goals are on Lewis Dunk kind of thing. It just doesn't feel great. But one thing I will say for England, fundamentally, is off the bench, they've got a lot of game changers there. Cole Palmer is an absolutely massive one. I mean, he starts, I genuinely think he starts for anyone else apart from England. It's just the fact we've got, obviously, Jude there in the 10, Eze on the left. Eze
I was going to say, he's an ace in the pack, you know. I'm so glad he's taken him, you know. So glad. Because even in the friendly, not the one where we lost to Iceland, I was flying at the time, but the one before, when he was on the pitch, man, every time he got the ball, he was just taking 2-3 players out of the game. So good. Lockie, man. He could be the ace in the pack.
When we played QPR a few seasons ago to Bielsa, and he played and scored, they lost the game, but every single thing they did came through him. They got him the ball, and he just run through our entire midfield. Honestly, since that day, I was like, this guy's unbelievable, and I wanted us to get him when we went up. Obviously, his trajectory is different, you know. But yeah, he is that type of player that literally has all the technique, all the power, all the pace you need in a player to change a game for you. I just think, obviously, it worried me how much he'll play. How much does Southgate see that? How much does he trust the player? I'm not sure, but think about a game where we've tried, you know, Bellingham. You know what you get with Bellingham, unbelievable player, obviously, but you know what you get with him. You know what he's going to bring you. Same with Foden. A lot of it will determine whether he turns up as well, whether he's got the right role. But if it's not working for Foden, Bellingham, having a player like Eze, you come on and he'll just play with so much freedom. Kind of in a way, do you know, like at the peak of this season where Jorginho just played with freedom and just completely controlled the game. I remember that game against Watford where he just had fun. Like Eze coming on and having that type of role, it's in the team where he just runs through people, plays with confidence, and has a point to prove because he's 25 now. He'll want to establish himself in this England side for the future as well, and to get a move potentially to a top team. He's at 25 years old. It's time for him to do that for me. He is one of the players that I'm waiting for. You know, you get excited to watch players. He is one of them for me. He's. I'm looking at him as well. Jared Bowen had a good season in the Prem. You know, people sleeping on him. His numbers were great. He can impact a game. Ollie Watkins probably won't play much, but if it's a situation where we need a goal and we bring Ollie Watkins on, we have a lot of depth. Even Ivan Toney, further down, there's situations there where you can see these players helping out.
Tony's been brought for penalties and penalties alone, I think.
Yeah,
genuinely.
And it's a fair shout, though.
If we need that, good. You know what 100%. I mean? He's there for that. Yeah. He'll do it. That's his job. So, but the defensive thing is really worrying in the sense that why is Harry Maguire not gone? He's took him before on.
I think
was it an injury?
So I heard on one of the that he wouldn't have been ready till the 4th game, which is
I'd have risked it. I'd have honestly risked it.
Yeah.
I mean, we did it at the Euros. I think he didn't play the first 2. Tyrone Mings, I think, played the first 2 games.
As Verratti in the Euro 2020 didn't play the first 2 games because he was not fit. He was injured, but we still took him. And we waited till the 3rd game to get him till the 3rd game to get him involved when we were already qualified. So he played against Wales, you know. But before that, he wasn't fit to play. So yeah, that's down to the manager in the end, you know.
Yeah, it's about the player. What he does for England, Harry Maguire, is ridiculous. He's arguably our best centre back the last
Scores
years
goals
in
as well,
England.
man. Scores
And
goals
that's
as well.
it. And that's what he brings. I don't see that real threat with the current crop. They're very good at other things, but look, like if he's out for a while, I get it. But at the end of the day, when it comes to the crunch time and you need a player like that who can come on for a corner in the last 10 minutes, and it's tournament football, you need these type of players. You need different attributes in there. We saw it for Leeds all season, didn't we? We didn't have these different types of players. Like, look at the playoff. We had no midfielder that could come on. It's crazy.
Yeah.
A player like that is key. And again, I think Jack Grealish, I love our wingers. They're all class. But Jack Grealish, he's that energy for me. He's that guy in the camp that brings morale and brings a bit of calmness around the place. He's a winner as well. He's won so much for Man City. I know he had a great season, but again, when he played for England in the last tournament, when he got brought on, he changed every game. Every single one. He came on and changed, didn't he? And we were all saying, get Grealish on. He came on and changed every game. So there's decisions, and I get them because the players you've got have had better seasons, in terms of the attacking players. But I'm worried about when it goes deeper in the tournament and we need some different types of players. That's what worries me.
Yeah, I think I've heard a few takes this week, like obviously on the Tony thing being taken purely for penalties. Should Dominic Solanke potentially have gone with the form he was in? You've got Grealish, like you mentioned. I think Rooney said today, or on the overlap, he said like he'd have dropped Bowen because you've got so many options out on the right with the likes of Cole Palmer, Foden might play there, Saka, etc. That he'd have preferred to have drop Bowen and bring Grealish to give you a different option on the left. Gordon obviously will bring pace, but I agree with you in terms of recycling possession. Grealish is that guy, right? Keeping hold of the ball, keep it ticking over, trying to find a little thing. Whereas Gordon's going to do what? He's just going to hit the touchline in and just try and get it in that way, So obviously there's holes in the squad, but it's last chance saloon, isn't it, for Southgate? He's got to win it. Like, I don't think that's such a wild take.
Well, it looked like winning it. We've got like one of the best teams. I know obviously the Euros we got to the final, but we've got to be honest. Outside of say the Germany game and the Ukraine game and the last 16 and quarterfinals massively changed the perception of that. I mean, the group stages were an absolute slog, weren't they? If we're being honest, I mean, we scored I think 2 goals in the group stages. The Scotland game was one of the worst England games I think I've ever seen. No disrespect to Scotland, they did a great job on us, but. And then
they celebrated that draw, by the way.
Yeah. I mean, they got through the group stage, didn't it? Don't forget. But the Denmark game. Do you remember the Denmark semi-final? I mean, we were lucky. We were lucky that night, really.
Lucky penalty.
Very lucky.
Getting through that. I mean, but one thing I'd say is, I really hope Southgate doesn't look back on this in say 10 years' time and think, with the centre-back issues we've got, the fact that we're maybe lacking in certain areas, Ben White. You're looking at it and thinking, why did he not just make amends with Ben White? You're thinking about it, thinking you've got the injuries. You can play John Stones and Ben White there, or you can play Ben White at right back. I mean, how good have White and Saka been the last 2 years? And that's something I'm a big believer of in terms of international tournaments. Lockie was saying before about what normally wins them. And obviously experience is a big thing, but I think sometimes the club link-ups as well, natural dynamics, White and Saka are so used to playing alongside each other. I'd also say in terms of Eze, if Eze comes on, I'd make sure Wharton's on the pitch as well, because I think Wharton on the left can link up with Eze and they've got a real natural kind of dynamic there. It's just, does Southgate make these calls? And I just think certain areas he's been too stubborn. I think the Maguire one, I think
exactly
Maguire and White are a lot better, and Branthwaite for me are all far better options than what we've got.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
No, I
would have taken Brentford, honestly, but again, for me, I've always said that the problem for me, you have a great squad. Of course, people are complaining because that's what I don't get. In England, a majority of the people always said, take when he was calling up and picking Anderson, Sterling, all those players, and Calvin, of course, too. Many people were saying, he's not picking the players that were on form. He's just picking players based on the reputation, on the fact that they were in the previous squad. Now he's picking players based on form, basically. Yeah. He's left out Grealish, for example, Maddison, and all of that. The problem is not that he's picking players on form or not. The problem is that the manager is not a top-level manager. He's not the manager to manage this squad. That's the problem for you, You had a much better squad than Italy in the final. Score after 1 minute, then sit back the whole game. Just wait for Italy to get to you. That's the problem, and that's what happened with France too at the World Cup. That's what happened. I think Southgate is still living after the World Cup 2018. When you reached the semi-final. But again, you were far better than Croatia. Look at how many wins you have against the top teams in Europe. Just have to look at that. The problem is Southgate is not the squad for me. He's not.
Do you know
he's
what,
not
though?
tactically. Yeah.
I hear what you're saying, Andrea, but someone actually did some research. I can't remember the numbers, and look, we weren't the best. But when people go on about wins against the top teams in Europe, there's only France that absolutely boss it. Everyone else actually struggles and takes points off one another and that. So, like, look, I feel like I have to defend him a little bit just because I've enjoyed a modicum of success under him. Prior to that, it's been shit shows and we've never really turned up. So that's why I have...
Rated, to be honest.
You lost twice to Hungary,
but
that's the problem.
But friendlies and all that shit before games, right? They don't bother, right? It doesn't matter.
Yeah, but he gets found out. He doesn't have countermeasures tactically. That's what happening with France. That's the problem for me. And I really, if Italy don't win it, of course, I really hope England do. But again, it's down to the manager. Honestly, it's down to the manager. I don't think he's tactically ready to react in games and be proactive in games. And that's the problem. That's the problem for me, because the squad is great apart from the centre back pairing probably. But yeah. Honestly, if it's the last chance for you, but for this group, because again, you have Wharton, Mainu, the two youngsters. You'll have players ready to come in, into the squad for the next years. You have a new generation, a new golden generation, of course. So don't be bothered about that, because if you don't win it this time, there'll be a next generation that will be as good as well as this one. Honestly, for me.
Do you know? Can I go on, Lockie?
Quickly, I was just gonna say, like, that's it. Like Andrea said, it's given some of my best memories as an England fan. Like the previous tournaments were horrible. They just were losing to teams you shouldn't have lost to. We've actually got players here who actually like each other as well, that get on with each other. The dynamics have changed, the atmosphere has changed, and that is Southgate. He's brought a really good atmosphere with him, and that's what you need. That's what we needed. But for me, whatever happens this tournament, I think it's time to build on that, but bring in, like Andrea said, a world-class coach. And there's only one man for me, and that's Pep Guardiola.
we will be there.
We
will be there.
We will be there. We will be there.
But can I just ask Oscar and Lockie, obviously, what does he do? Like, what do you think that opening lineup will be? Like, will he go Trent in midfield with Rice and Bellingham ahead of him, then have Saka and potentially Foden off the left with Kane up top? Will he go Conor Gallagher? Because I see that lineup get announced, and if Conor Gallagher's in it, I know the whole nation's going to take off. For fuck's sake, that's what'll happen, all in tandem at the same time. But, like, will he let the shackles off? I don't know. How do you envisage it?
When you've got, like, Wharton, I think, I'd say the case for starting Wharton. I don't think he will start. I think it'll be Trent in midfield and Kyle Walker at right back and probably Kieran Trippier at left back. And, I mean, that full-back pairing's got, all the offensive threat as I don't know what really. It's I can't really think of a comparison, but not much offensive threat coming down that side. And in the words of Pep, Feel has to have the right players around him, kind of thing, for it to work. And I just think if he hasn't got that overlapping left back, say what Gvardiol was doing, which what I think Luke Shaw can do, I think it takes a lot of Phil Foden's use in the squad from the start out, and that'll be a very unpopular take, but it's Foden or Bellingham at that point where you're thinking it has to be Bellingham in the 10, but there's no way Southgate will drop Foden or Bellingham or Saka. No. So it will be that front three, and they are amazing, but they need the right players around them. It feels like there's too many players who just want the ball to feet. There's not a lot of pace in that front four. Outside of even Saka, I would say is probably the fastest at the front four, but I wouldn't say he's notably fast. You know what I mean? He's not like.
Do you think that's why he's took Gordon then over Grealish?
Yeah, I mean, I'd honestly, if it's Trippier at left back, I'd honestly play Gordon on the left wing. It won't happen, but I think you do need, if you're going down that route, you need a natural wise player on that side to stretch the pitch out that way. Especially if say Denmark, Serbia, and Slovenia drop off against us. He needs to be able to break that down, and it's massive. But I think ultimately, what will be the success and failure for England this tournament is getting Kane and Bellingham, that combination working. Kane dropping deep, Bellingham running on like he has done for Real all season, and like what Kane has done for Bayern, they are our two players which you look at and think, wow, kind of thing. Yeah, they can win games on their own. I still think Phil Foden's our best player, but you've got to have the right balance around him. But I just don't feel like he'll get a lot of criticism. I think the English media are ready to kind of have a scapegoat.
Of course they are, man.
I have a horrible feeling it'll be Foden or Bellingham. I really do.
Well, it won't be Saka now. It won't be Saka after the outcry, after the racism, which is what it was. Let's call it for what it was.
It was.
I'm disappointed,
by the way. I'm disappointed at Southgate for not calling this out, by the way. I think he's too friendly with the press. I think Southgate has got to create a siege mentality, Luis Enrique, Jose Mourinho style. I'm just going to be as short and blunt as possible with the press and us against them kind of mentality. I really do believe that. But 100%. And I really believe Southgate's got to do that to.
They're ready to turn, because you are right with the media, right? There's almost been this sort of like Andrea mentioned, 2018, everyone was buzzing, no one expected, everyone hated England, then we go to the tournament and we do really well, and he's been riding the crest of a wave, and it almost feels like now is, and I feel the fans are the same as well, a lot of them can't stand Southgate, so the media pick up on that, and they can't wait to spin it, trust me, can't wait to spin it, get him gone, he's shit, like, we should... And maybe that's why Southgate's trying his best to keep them on side so that they don't fucking flip it on its head.
But Southgate, if it's his last tournament anyway,
yeah,
he's
agreed.
Thinking, just go for it. Honestly, wind up whoever you want to wind up, and just honestly, us against them mentality. I think that's what Southgate's got to do. I think one of the best things Southgate did at the start of his job was obviously get England players more connected to the fans. And you've got to say, from a man management point of view, certainly up to like this tournament, he's been absolutely spectacular in that kind of sense. And that's, obviously we talk about tactically, obviously we know Southgate's limited, but man management wise, he has done a great job in that regard. And that's all it's kind of needed up to this point. But I think now, where it's got to the point where England are one of the favourites, Southgate's got to make a bit of the difference as well. And I just don't feel he's going to do that in that regard. But listen, if you get Foden, the best out of him, with Shaw on the overlap, Bellingham and Kane combining, Saka holding the width on the other side, England can definitely win the tournament. But can we do that? There's too many players where there's question marks. Shaw's fitness, Stones' fitness. There's too many question marks for it to be a reality for me.
And this is a very difficult group, lads. Trust me, because
let's talk about the others. Let's talk about them, Andrea.
Yeah, it's very similar to a group, because Serbia have a very good squad in terms, you mentioned Vlahovic, you mentioned Mitrovic. They have other players like, for example, Kostic from Juve, Tadic, Gudel from Sevilla, also other players like Samardzic from Udinese, a very good player.
Milinkovic, Savic as well, right?
Savic, yeah, exactly. It's a squad that is playing together for a long time now. And the manager, Pixi Stojkovic, of course, is a good manager, honestly. At the back, they have good players. They are solid, in terms of Pavlovic, Milenkovic, Belkovic. They are a physical side, especially, because you have Milinkovic in the middle, you can have Gudel, you can have also, Maksimovic from Getafe. They are all physical players. Lukic too from Fulham, and Samardzic, look at his age, is very similar to Fabian Ruiz, by the way. Looking at the way he plays, and up front, Mitrovic, Vlahovic. So I think you will struggle a bit in terms of the game against Serbia, because they are very physical side. Absolutely. In terms of your midfielders and then midfielders, they have stronger midfielders in terms of body physicality.
Yeah, physicality,
Yeah. And also Slovenia, Slovenia are a physical side too. And, the teams from the Balkans, from the former Yugoslavia, they are talented. They have talented players. They can play with the ball. They are physical, but they can also play with the ball in terms of possession, And Slovenia, of course, the big man, Benjamin Šeško from RB Leipzig.
Do you know what, Andrea, as well? Like, when we're talking about the state of our defence and the physical side of it, you've got Sesko, you've got Mitrovic, you've got Vlahovic, you've got Rasmus Højlund. We are going to struggle in that respect.
Absolutely. I agree. They have Šeško, Ilicic too, lads. Ilicic is very tall. Of course, now he's very, he's not so strong in terms of body. Now he's back in shape. He had a very rough time because of the pressure. Now he's back at his best. Played a very good season with Maribor. He's big occasion. Playing a tournament with his nation at 36 years of age, and he's had a good time in the friendlies, so he's showing good things. Other players that you may look out for in Slovenia are, of course, Verbic, Lovric from Udinese, very double-dimensional player, Also, Jaka Biol, they have a good center-back pairing, with Blasic and Biol, honestly, Denmark, Brekalo too from Slovenia, remember him from the scouting report when we talk about
as well,
about the center backs when we did the scouting report in January. Of course, Denmark, them. They are very similar to Croatia. It's the last big occasion. Aging team, of course. They have Kier, Mele, Eriksson, Skovolsen, Dolberg, Damsgaard, Norgård.
Joachim Andersen as well, I think.
Joachim Andersen, is in the squad. Kasper Schmeichel. A player that you need to look at is not Rasmus Christensen, is Morten Hjulmand and Victor Christiansen. These are the two that you should follow. Morten Hjulmand, playmaker, strong player in the middle, very good with the ball in terms of vision. And for me, Victor Christiansen, of course, he was a flop at Leicester, but he was one of the best players for Bologna this season. And very good left back. I think he has a chance to start.
Does Mikkel Damsgaard still get in? Because obviously he went Brentford, didn't he, right? And he was supposed to be buff, and he just he's fallen off a cliff a little bit.
He's in the squad.
I think
he's in the squad.
He's in the squad still, yeah?
Yeah, with Jensen and Norgård too.
Yeah,
all the others, Danish players from Brentford,
But we do, and I just want to pick up on, Jeffrey, I hate this, right? Because we get it a lot.
Huh?
We do get it a lot as English. And I think if you just listen to that whole last 30 minutes, whatever we did on it, none of us were overconfident. It really frustrates me that. I think the English get labelled it a lot. And I think a lot of it is due to a fucking song where we say it's coming home. It's just a song. Relax. It is only a song. It is what it is, and it'll get blasted again. But I do think, look, if we can't be confident anyway, I don't think we're overconfident. But if we can't be confident, yeah,
it's a myth.
So.
I mean, last time I think the last time where England were genuinely overconfident was 2010 in South Africa, because obviously it's before Capello turned a bit mad and just decided to bang ketchup and stuff like that, and didn't allow anyone to go out of the complex, and just basically turned into Fabio Capello, basically. And obviously you had Gerrard in his prime, Lampard in his prime. It was like that golden era. We're in the prime, and it was like the last chance saloon at that point. That after we completely and utterly flopped to that tournament, I can't think of a time when anyone's actually genuinely said we're going to absolutely smash it. And I think obviously under Sven, there was quite a lot of overconfidence then, but in the last sort of 10, 15 years, it's not been many times where you can genuinely say we're overconfident. I'd say other nations are much more guilty of it than us. I think obviously France, I think in the Euros last time, were extremely confident and they completely flopped. Spain have got a real tendency to get over carried away. Not so much this tournament. So there's plenty of other nations that get excited, honestly. Portugal, again, are another one that over the years got very, very excited. I remember going to Lisbon before the World Cup about a month before, and I just remember talking to a taxi driver, and he said, "No doubt about it, we win, we win." It was just absolutely adamant kind of thing. And so there are other nations that get confident about winning football matches.
I'm just going to say, do you know what it is for me? Do you know what it is for me, right? Just, it's who we are as people. We like to drink and have fun. So when English fans drink and have fun, they get very loud, and we're loud anyway, aren't we? We speak our mind, especially Northerners, we like to speak our mind. So it's just what we like. I think it's just a culture thing. We just like to talk and have a bit of fun. I don't know.
It always reminds me of that Gadji. We've all seen the meme where he gets asked the question and he snogs the mic and goes, "Woo!"
No other country, no other person from every other country is doing that.
Oh, exactly.
Yeah, and just one other thing about the group. We talk about Germany. I think Serbia versus England is an high-risk game outside of it. So look out, because the Serbians don't mess.
No, they do not.
and they have some far extreme groups following the national team. From Zvezda and Partizan. So it's not the right. They're not the right people to try to clash with. Let's enjoy the game. Let's enjoy both teams. Because they are two beautiful nations. Serbia is a very good and beautiful nation. They are good people, but don't interact with the hooligans because they don't mess, honestly.
No, 100%.
They don't have Big Baz from Halifax, though, do they, Andre?
let me just. I'm just gonna go because look, obviously I'm an England fan. Lockie is, Oscar is. This is an English podcast, if you like. I'm just gonna ask you outright: can England win the tournament, Oscar?
Yeah, definitely can. I actually think we'll get to the last four, but I think we'll fall short.
There we go. What about you, Lockie?
Of course we can. Yeah, can. Not saying we will. We can definitely. And if that's not overconfident, that's look at the players we've got. Of course we can.
Yeah. I'm with you. We can. Andrea, can we, or are you just gonna stick on the manager?
No, you can, but honestly, we'll see. You know, there's many probabilities. Look at Portugal in 2016; they progressed with draws. You know, they were very lucky against Croatia. They beat Portugal on penalties, then they beat Wales in the semi-final, and then they got to the final. So anything can happen if you get past the group stage. You know, who knows? But yeah, you have the talent to win it, of course. Apart from probably the defense pairing, but yeah, you can win it absolutely 100%.
Good stuff. Let's do. Are we still okay for time, lads?
Yeah.
All good.
Yeah, all good, all great. I'm enjoying it. That's all, and I know that you might be, it's getting on and whatnot. But yeah, right. Let's talk Group D. We got a very interesting group, a very tough group, I think. Netherlands, France, Poland, and Austria. Let's talk about France. I mean, Oscar, you made a great point earlier on. You've got a French centre-back partnership. Like, it's the fact that France are that good that they can just start handing out players to different nations. They're that good. Do you know what I mean? It's like before this tournament, I think Saliba wasn't even getting a look in. You know what I mean? He was.
Well, he
was
might not.
benched.
He genuinely might not start that first game. I think it's crazy if he don't. But it looks like it could be Kanate and Upamecano. But I think over time, over the tournament, I think it will be Saliba and Kanate. I think Saliba will find his way in there. But there's just so much. And even in goal, obviously, no more Hugo Lloris, with the greatest respect to him. Obviously a huge upgrade there. But the one thing with France, and it has been the theme of the last couple of tournaments, Griezmann and Mbappe, that link-up is just... It's the best link-up in international football at this moment in time by quite a distance. Griezmann is, for me, I'd still say he's the best player in Spain. I really would. I think he's absolutely phenomenal in what he does in that Atletico team.
Tactically, brilliant tactically.
Yeah, anywhere, it's the work rate as well. It's just he can drop into midfield and make a free in midfield, or he can push up right alongside Giroud or Mbappe or Colin Mwane and make a front two. He's just so tactically versatile, and he's just consistently excellent in these tournaments. He always turns up, and set pieces as well. He's a big threat in that regard. And then obviously there's Kylian Mbappe, who I believe is the best player in the world at this moment in time.
Do you know what I think as well? Now that he's moved to Real Madrid, sorted as well, I think it'll not improve him, but he doesn't have no outside stresses either. So it's almost like I've got my dream move. I'm gonna light this tournament up. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. It's one of those where it's the fact he's not playing for PSG any longer. He knows that if he has a bad tournament, we know what PSG fans are like. They will turn on him if he has a bad tournament and comes back to PSG. But when he's going back to Real Madrid, it's just kind of like, yeah, it's one of them if you have a bad tournament, but he won't. I think the fact he had a dodgy last Euros in terms of he actually played well, but just couldn't score. His finishing was horrific at the last Euros. I think that'll spur him on even more. It's a pretty incredible team. France have got here. There's no question about it. My question mark here is, and it seems crazy considering his achievements with France, is Didier Deschamps. It has to be. And it's not even so much tactically, it's more his team selections are a bit crazy. Like I said before about Saliba's not a guaranteed starter. Camavinga's a million miles away from being a guaranteed starter. We're talking about Rabiot starting over Camavinga. To me, that is like, what? And Tchouaméni might not start. It looks like Kante will definitely start. And you're thinking, Kante, is he still the same player he was? As good as he has been, is he still that same player? Surely it should be Tchouaméni and Camavinga for me, the Real Madrid midfield pairing. But these are small things, feel like very small things, really. I think Deschamps really, he has shown he's solid over a tournament. It's just maybe those team selections, if you do that against a Germany, let's say in a semi-final, or a Portugal or England, etc., you maybe might get found out this time around. But for me, France, I could easily see France winning this tournament. And someone else to mention who won't get many plaudits is Jules Koundé, and that might be me being Barca bias scum, but he is absolutely outstanding. Absolutely outstanding. He's like the right back version of Guardiola on the other side, in terms of how consistently brilliant he is. In terms of I've never really seen in the second bit of the season anyone really get the better out of him on the left hand side against him at right back. And yeah, his attitude's fantastic as well. He's a proper leader in that France team. And yeah, it's a massive one, for France in terms of having him and Teo Hernandez on the other side. I look at that back line and think, if they do get Saliba in there, you've got Koundé, Saliba, Canate, and Teo Hernandez. It's going to be difficult to score against them. Even if they're not tactically complete, there's going to be, and they've got Griezmann and Mbappe on the counter.
Who will be in goal for France, lads? Who's...
Magnan from AC Milan, yeah. Good keeper. Sometimes he has some drop-offs because he gets injured a lot, honestly. But yeah, he's very good keeper within the sticks. Absolutely. Good there to good your read, But yeah, the big question for me is that, again, number 9, Olivier Giroud.
Yeah.
He's going to move to the ES at the end. Apart from that, they're brilliant everywhere, I rather start Marcus Thuram, but the problem is that, he often plays better in a front two, because with Lautaro Martinez at Inter Milan, he was moving around him freely. So it was better because he had freedom. He's better as a second striker, not as the main man up front, But yeah, overall,
Mbappe loves playing with Giroud as well, right? That's a known
that's
thing,
the other
isn't
thing.
it?
Yeah. But yeah, overall, they are complete everywhere. Especially, they also have the depth, because they have Dembele, Barcola, also Coman. They're complete everywhere, basically. Ferland Mendy too, from Real Madrid, first tournament for him. Fofana. They basically, every player in the squad can start in all the other teams, basically.
Yeah.
If you look at them, apart from Jonathan Klaus, very good player, but 31 years of age. But apart from them, and Areola probably, everyone can start, and Giroud probably, every one of them can start in the other teams,
And the thing is as well, they've got so much fucking experience as well, aren't they? Do you know what I mean? They've been there, they've done it, it's crazy. I'm going to come to Holland and come to you, Lockie, obviously. I was watching something the other day, Filthy Fellas, and they said, are Holland, over the course of the years, potentially the most disappointing nation because they've had so many good players and just never really done anything with it? And that's probably a conversation for another day, but that you could certainly say that is the case because they've had some amazing players over the time. Listen, they've got some top players this time around. Obviously, we've just seen Xerxes being called up as well, which was wild.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he's just been
called.
Wow,
that's massive. That is massive.
Yeah. But even in fullback areas, Dumfries, etc., from a fantasy perspective, he always goes in my Euros because I fancy him. You've got Van Dijk at the back. I don't know if Weghorst will be leading the line, if that's still the case. I'm not too sure, but
I think yes, because Koeman loves him. They even asked Michael Van Gerwen about Weghorst, and he was like, make a top 5 list of the German the Dutch athletes. He started with himself, then the name Verstappen, he placed them in second, then other Dutch athletes. Then he said there was the second spot left, and they said Wout Weghorst. He said, oh no, Wout Weghorst. But yeah, overall, there's many good players making a debut. Madsen, Zirkzee, Frimpong, Xavi Simons, Brobbey, Schouten. Absolutely Van de Ven, Reinders, absolutely very good team, and of course, and remember that they are missing Deron, De Jong, and Kopp Miners.
Yeah,
and
they've just pulled, aren't they? Yeah. Go on, Lockie.
Yeah.
What were you gonna?
I think these could be dark horses for me, Joe. I'll be honest. I know we're meant to get into that, but I think the one of them. I think what's stopping them, and I'll talk about the players in a sec. But again, you look at the history of it. They have why has that happened? Why has that been a thing?
Yeah.
Why are they always underperforming? But I'm looking at the squad, and Andre named the names there. Xavi Simons for me was one of the best players in the world this season. He was an absolute joke. I had the joy of watching him at the Etihad when I went to watch the Champions League game. Wow. They got battered, by the way, did RB Leipzig, but he is an absolute joke. I'd love to see him at, like, I know he ain't going there, but like a City or something under Pep. He's a joke for play. He can literally do everything. He's ridiculous. He's still 21 years old. They've got him, and then you look at Memphis Depay there. He's had an unbelievable career. Still a good player with experience. Cody Gakpo's not had a good season, but come on, for his country, it's a different game. And you've got Frimpong, who's just won the league, by Leverkusen, won the league. Daniel Marlin, imagine him. He's a ridiculous player when he's on it. He can, destroy anyone 1v1. He can finish. He's got that flair about him, And then Xerxes, like that attack is a joke. Like, if them players turn up and they play without pressure and freedom, and Ronald Koeman again, he's a question mark, I guess. Can you get the best out of these players? But if you can, that's ridiculous. I think if you can get the best out of these players, I genuinely believe that's one of the best attacks at the tournament. And like I said, for me, Javi Simmons is up there. This could be huge for him. He's had the last few years actually, but this year, I think I know he was a bit Barca, isn't he, Oscar? So you might know a bit about him, but
well, to be honest, Barca are
played,
desperate to bring him back. They're desperate to. Simons as well has been flirting with Barca for the last month as well, in terms of he's So that's going to be a real interesting dynamic, in terms of Simons. I mean, I totally agree with you, Lockie. I mean, Simons has been absolutely. He's kind of been. He's unlucky that he's had Wirtz and Musiala in the same league, kind of things. I think they've almost taken the limelight away a little bit, and the fact that Leipzig haven't had the best season, but he has been equally as impressive as those two, if not, you'd even argue probably more impressive in some ways.
Yeah.
But it's an amazing attack, and Xerxes as well. Yeah. I mean, I'm sure you lads have seen a lot of Bologna this season. I've only kind of jumped on the Bologna hype train quite late, the Thiago Motta hype train rather, but amazing talent. And I was kind of like, the Bologna team's a real shame to see. Obviously, that's going to be broken up now because obviously Motta's left. But that was, he's coming into this tournament in a lot of confidence. And my doubts, as Lockie was saying, is about Ronald Koeman. I think Ronald Koeman, defensively, I think he's a good coach. I think in terms of the defence he's working with, Van der Ven, Van Dijk, many different options at centre back. It's absolutely crazy. But fundamentally, they've got, for me, the best back line in the tournament. Obviously, in midfield, it's a little bit short, but I think Koeman tax with forwards is definitely a thing. I think he is quite a poor judge on forwards. I think, again, I'll go back to Barcelona. He decided to get rid of Luis Suarez, probably about 2 years too early. Griezmann, he got rid of as well. Messi probably played his worst football in the Barca shirt under Ronald Koeman as well. I think he's a very defensive coach, I'm not going to lie. Although, in his first spell with Holland, I remember obviously when England played Holland in the Nations League. I think it was a semi-final. I think it was
in Portugal. In Portugal,
Yeah, in Portugal. Yeah, I was trying to remember. Yeah, I think it was 2019. I think it was. Holland absolutely played us off the park, and obviously they're a different team now, but there's definitely got that quality to them. And the Dutch, when they get momentum, are a very, very good side. I think with Holland, it's either all or nothing kind of thing in terms of how they play in the tournament. I think we all remember 2014 Brazil, that Holland team under Van Gaal, how good that team was and how fun it was to watch. And there are players you look at. There's a lot of streets won't forget kind of players in this Holland team. There is a lot of players in there. You're thinking there'll be compilations in the next 10 years. If they have good tournaments. I've got there's something about Holland where I could see a cheeky semi-final, potentially shocking one of the big teams in the quarters or something. There's something about this Holland team where I could say that, but I think that'll be because of Van Dijk, Van der Ven, Xerxes, Simons. It feels like even as much as I doubt Ronald Koeman, he's going to play the back three. He's going to play to the strengths of Marston, the strengths of Dumfries in the back three. I think he'll have enough where even if he can't make the difference tactically, Holland are going to be a real threat. And I do have a decent vibe about them. I'm not going to lie.
It's like a profanation, playing a back three in the Netherlands with the inventors of 4-3-3.
How dare you?
Feels like that, But I was gonna say, we talk about Xavi Simons, trying to get back to Barca, but they don't have the capacity to.
No, don't do this to me. They don't. Definitely don't. I mean, they've got to do business with PSG, and PSG and Barca yeah, the relations. I mean, I went to the Champions League game. The relations between both clubs and both fans is not great. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was. I did get caught up in some stuff there. I'm not going to talk about it because probably best not to talk about it. But yeah, it was some quite interesting scenes at that game. But yeah, I think one thing about Koeman as well is he had this classic thing at Barca where he put Gerard Piqué up front and threw in crosses at him for the last 10 minutes. If Barca were chasing the game, he can't do that with Holland. He'd
Get Van Dijk in the mixer.
Oh mate, if the Dutch fans will not be having that. If he puts Van Dijk in the mixer and just throwing crosses in, but yeah,
him and Wout Weghorst
do mental things. Get him in
boys.
mixer.
Yeah, do we? Look, I think Netherlands could implode because that's what Netherlands do, to be honest.
Yeah.
And Oscar's mentioned Koeman there, maybe being a part of that potentially. Do we give either of the? I mean, for me, Poland. I hate to say it, but they're just not great. I just think they're just Lewandowski FC, and outside of that, there's nothing really. I know they beat.
Lewandowski came off in the last game as well.
Yeah.
And to be honest, Lewandowski probably will be better next season, but he's not had the best of seasons this season for Barca. He has kind of shown his age a little bit. He can still finish, no doubt about it, but pressing and holding the ball up when Poland will probably desperately need that. I don't think you'll get a lot of that from Lever, to be honest.
Nah.
Yeah, he's very static now. Very static, They like Joe said, I think they have some good players, individually, like Swiderski, Szymanski, of course Skoras, good player also, for Club Brugge, Schlich, but overall, honestly, Jelinski, of course, overall, every time I've seen them play, I don't like how they play, honestly. With the manager is Probiash, yeah, I don't like them, honestly. They're very static, very slow on the ball. They are a physical side. They want to be aggressive. They did that against Wales, it worked out to get to penalties. But yeah, I really don't rate them going into this tournament, honestly. Instead, on the other hand, Austria for me can go to the semi-finals. Listen to me, they can reach the semi-finals, honestly, because Ralf Rangnick has built a machine there, honestly. I think they can be one of the dark horses going into the tournament in terms of going at least to the semi-finals.
If Holland implode, I could honestly see Austria finishing second. I honestly don't think it's mental to suggest Austria could actually even... I don't think they will, but Austria could win the group if they get that first result right and France and Holland draw. There's a world where Austria could actually win the group. I don't think it will happen, but second is definitely on for Austria. If they get a decent first result against France, and then France have got a little bit of pressure going into that Holland game, there's no way for me Austria won't be at least one of the best three teams. One of the best third place teams. I really will be stunned if they don't get through that group phase. And the other thing as well is Ralf Rangnick is on a warpath as well. It feels like destined that we'll play England as well. If something like that will happen, because obviously the English media absolutely lambasted Ralf Rangnick. Obviously, he had a shocker at Man United, but it feels like he's that type of coach that holds a grudge. And it just feels like it could be something that happens that we get drawn to play Austria at some point. And they could definitely do damage. It's 100%. Very much like Ralf Rangnick's Leipzig team, which was really, really fun to watch as well. There's good vibes there of Austria.
100%. Like I was listening to something today, and they were making that point about Rangnick and the Salzburg Red Bull setup in Austria, basically playing that similar setup and all being aware of how he wants them to play already before he even came in, because a lot of them, like Lima and stuff, have already come through that sort of setup, right? So you've got Sabitzer, Lima, obviously Max Vober will be one to watch as well. So I think I have to agree with you that they could be a bit of a dark horse. I think we've all sort of mentioned.
I was just going to say, Joe, not lost in the last 6 games to beat Germany back in November. So good side, definitely. Yeah.
Definitely one to watch. Right, Group E.
The best one.
Yes.
Look,
my favourite player of the tournament's in there as well. So.
Go on then, talk to me.
Luis Openda.
Yeah.
What a player. RB's wow. RB's Leipzig. I know Ben Jerkin mentioned him on your thing. Yeah, for me, and again, the Belgium squad's stacked. It always is. But Luis Openda is, honestly, when he's on it, he's he's unstoppable. very similar to Xavi Simons. Him and Xavi Simons at Leipzig were an absolute joke. I think in the league this year, 34 games in the Bundesliga, got 24 goals and 7 assists. He's a joke of a player, Luis Openda, sorry, 24 years old. Look, yeah, if Belgium can build around him and make him the focal point of their side and their attack, they'll score a lot of goals because he's ridiculous. I think he's definitely one to watch for the top awards at the tournament for me. I just want to say that quickly before we get into it.
Do you think he'll start, bro?
If he doesn't, I'll be absolutely shocked because he's
Lukaku, mate. That's the
Lukaku?
problem. That's the problem. I think they start with
play
Lukaku
wing as well. You can play the side.
Doku,
Yeah,
Trossard.
De Ketelere,
Better
Yeah.
than them for me.
Luke
Better than all
Bacchio,
them.
Bakayoko. That's the
It's better than
problem.
all of
Yes,
Bakayoko's a good player as well. Really good
Doku.
season.
Doku
Yeah.
too.
I think he's got to. He's played 34 games this season in the Bundesliga, 24 goals, 7 assists. Imagine
Yeah,
not
I'll start
starting
him too,
goals.
honestly, because
Yeah.
I don't rate Lukaku anymore. Honestly, he's very static, So I'll start Openda rather than him, because I think he can compare pretty well. He can connect, pretty well with the Ketelere, with the Doku, with Trossard, the player that can play there. Carrasco even.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think Belgium has good players that are good seasons. They need to pick the players on form, not on their
Yeah.
names. If they continue to build on Lukaku, on Vertonghen again, on like Castagne again, all those kind of players. The veteran groups. The veteran groups, the player they always relied on, Carrasco, all of them. They will have the same finish as all the other tournaments. That group of veterans, they don't have personality. Beats all those players. They've shown that when the pressure is there, they crumble. The only time they didn't crumble was in the World Cup in 2018 when they won the third place final against you. That's the only time they didn't crumble. They reached the semi-final.
I would say that tournament was there to win, though. To be fair, obviously, I know they played France in the semi, but I think at that point, because obviously Mbappe was only about 19 then, that was there to win for Belgium, especially the form Hazard was in. It was probably prime Hazard, and it does feel like I know exactly what you mean. But I think even that tournament, even though it was their best ever tournament, I still think that was a bit of a slip up for me as well.
Yeah, I agree because they knock out Brazil. They Fellaini, Dembele, Hazard, Batshuayi, Vermaelen, Alderweireld, all those kind of players. Now they have, of course, many good players, young ones like Onana too. Vermeeren from Atletico Madrid, moved there from Antwerp. But yeah, they still. I think that Tedesco, the Italian-German manager, I really hope that he picks players based on what the team needs. Because they have a young group of a young core of players there. Theat, all those players, the best. But if they continue to rely on Lukaku, Carrasco, Witsel, Vertonghen, or Castagne, the usual suspects, Meunier, they will unlike all the other tournaments because we've seen that group of players, they don't have the leadership to make it at the big level, to win a tournament.
No, I agree. I think it's time now. This is a tournament where they can. There's a lot of older players in Belgium, and there's a lot of really young, talented ones. And I think it's about getting that balance. But again, looking at the front three, like you said, Andre, you've got Lukaku, but then you've got Doku, Openda, and Bakayoko, who are all ridiculous players in that sense. Do you give them experience? Because, like I said, Openda and especially Bakayoko has had a ridiculous season as well. He's 21 years of age. They will frighten defenses. They will absolutely frighten them. So Lukaku, I think, is a good player to have in maybe the latter stages when you do need that experience. Maybe at time in the game, you need a bit of physicality up there because the others are not very physical. They're very technical players. But for me, he's a young manager as well, isn't he? He's quite a young manager, quite a fresh manager. So he's got to use what got him to where he is and play some, not all of them, but play some of these young players like Openda, and he's 24, he's not that young, so he's a bit experienced, and let them thrive because they've tried this, like you said, they've tried the kind of the experience route, they've tried all these top players. Belgium have really good depth, just like the other guys we speak about, the Netherlands. Belgium, again, look at their side, like Trossard as well, players like Tielemans, so many players on there that are ridiculous. So they've got to really use the squad right. Because it's simple, Netherlands for me. If Belgium do get the right squad and they get them going, I'm looking at that attack again, and I think it could be an absolute joke.
Yeah, at least you know what, this group, of course, on paper it doesn't look good, because you have Belgium, then of course Ukraine, Slovakia, and Romania. But this group, trust me, it will be very fun to watch because every game will be open, and there's plenty of good players, to look out for scouts. For example, looking at the table here, you have Ukraine, they have Dovbyk, Sigankov from Girona, Subriaga. Of course, you will see if Mudryk can make it at this level, because of course he had these downs and many downs and little ups, with Chelsea, and also Romania, two names that you need to follow from Parma, Denis Man and Valentin Mihaila, and also Slovakia, of course, we are a very good side in terms of how they play with Calzona. Especially if you look at the last frenzy they had, the last one they won 4-0, for example, and there's experienced players in Slovakia, like Pekarik, like Skriniar, but then you have some very good midfielders, like, of course, Andrzej Duda, Tomasz Szuslov, and the man, the myth, the legend, Laszlo Benes.
Yeah, I'm waiting for you to mention him, Andre. I was waiting. I was ready.
The Botka too, of course. This will be fun and very open, this group, honestly, of course.
But Belgium outright front runners, though, right?
Yeah. Can I just mention one other player from Belgium who I think is going to be very key? And I think actually it's Sean Dyche has almost, I wouldn't say ruined him, but Onana. I'm just a massive fan of Onana. I actually went to watch Ireland-Belgium when I was in Dublin in March. And I'll be honest, Belgium, again, it's hard to really gauge it from a friendly, etc., etc. Ireland just sat deep and Belgium just ran out of ideas without De Bruyne on the pitch. Probably a different story of De Bruyne on the pitch, but Onana was playing sense back in that game against Evan Ferguson, and he just marked Ferguson out of the game and then went into midfield. And he feels like the leader technically for Belgium, who's going to provide protection to Belgium's weak spot, which is the defence. And I think, to be honest, Onana, if he has a good tournament, I think he's going to have a lot of clubs in Europe. He already does have a lot of clubs in Europe chasing him, but one that's going to definitely, I can definitely say in terms of, from what I've heard, is Barcelona are a team who was seriously looking at Onana, and I think he'd be a fantastic signing for him as well. So if he's got a lot of encouragement to get out of the Sean Dyche trap to have a good tournament, and I think he will. I think he will be one of Belgium's key players to holding that back line together behind him, and I think he'll do a good job.
I said Supriaga for Ukraine, but he's not in the squad. Sorry, so Sudakov. Then the other one, Supriaga, is not called up. Sorry.
And I think for Romania, Dragosin, who went to Spurs, he plays for Romania. I think.
Yeah.
But outside of that, there's not much. Is this?
No, there's just Marin from Empoli and Marin from Pisa, Radzman and Marius. Then they have, of course, Mogos, the fullback, used to play for Reggiana many years ago. Then, of course, the two main men to follow for me are, like I said, for Parma, Denis Man and Valentin Mihaila, two wingers, very, very good on how they play. But the problem for them is up front. They have Georgi Puskas, used to play for Reading, now he's playing for Bari, and Yanis Agi, of course, used to play for Rennes, now in Spain for Alaves. So not much, honestly.
Not much. Right, down to the last one, folks. We've made it through. I'm enjoying it, though.
Yeah.
Another good group there. Wow.
Yeah, huge. Right, okay. Portugal. I think the only downside is Roberto Martinez. And potentially, and I don't know if you agree with me, it might sound like a wild take, Cristiano Ronaldo. Just because, I don't know, like...
Not at a tournament for me.
No, maybe not. I was going to say, is it wild? Do they actually need him? I don't know. Do they actually need him? I don't know. But Poland are stacked, aren't they? Portugal are absolutely stacked. Poland. Yeah. Portugal are stacked, like, I can't lie.
No,
absolutely.
They need him.
There's no question about it. I think I would definitely start Ronaldo. I think the player I'm most excited, definitely is seen in this. There's two players, actually. One, maybe a bit lesser in terms of probably gets less praise, but one who definitely has got a big tournament in him is Rafa Leao. I think he's got absolutely phenomenal talent. I think people talk about he's obviously Serie A maybe not in its strongest moment, but I think that's a bit of a generalisation. I actually think Leao is almost suffering a little bit because this Milan team he's playing in under Pioli hasn't been particularly great this season. I think a lot of the time when I've caught glimpses of Milan, he's just been the standout. He's absolutely phenomenal for me in terms of what you can do. And he is, in terms of, obviously, there's a lot of great left wingers at the minute. I think Mbappe and Vinicius, that's for me 1 and 2 in the world in terms of the best players. Obviously, Rafinha, we all know he's obviously gone to left wing for Barca, been amazing on the left wing for Barca. He's obviously up there as well. But Leao is definitely got the potential to be number 1 or number 2. I think he's that good. I think he's got to get a big move at some point. And he could be the player that really carries Portugal. And someone else who maybe gets a bit less praise, but is the best player I've seen live this season at a game, is Vitinha in midfield. And it's actually doubtful he'll actually start for Portugal, but I think he'll force his way into the team. In that Champions League game I went to see at Barcelona, he was absolutely unreal. Up against Pedri, Gundogan, and Frenkie de Jong, he ran the midfield for PSG on his own. He was absolutely amazing in that game. Scored in both legs as well. He's got a goal in him. Creative. I think he's a really, really top player.
He's a number 10, right, Oscar? A number 10?
Yeah, he's like a number 10 stroke number 8. He's kind of like, I'd say in terms of a bit Gundogan-ish kind of thing, control the game, but he can also contribute in the attacking phase as well. And he's a massive player for Portugal. And obviously, you got Bernardo Silva on top of that as well.
Polina as well, eh?
Polina is great. Well. Brilliant player.
Yeah, it's. I mean, I hate to say it, but I think Bruno Fernandes was going to have a brilliant tournament. I really do. I've just got a feeling that he's going to have He's obviously had a bad season at you know who. I just feel like he's going to turn up at this tournament. I don't know why, but I've just got that feeling.
I don't think you're wrong, mate. I don't think you're wrong. I don't think you're wrong at all.
The only question mark for me is if you're looking in the latter stages, is probably defensively in the fullback areas. I think João Cancelo, amazing going forward, amazing player to watch. I really enjoy watching him. But I just think in the big games this season for Barca, he's being massively found out in terms of defensively. Obviously, he's always had question marks at Man City, but I just remember both games against Dembele, he had some really, really bad moments in that and probably cost Barcelona the tie. And obviously in the El Clasico, I think both El Clasicos this season, he's had bad moments. And Nuno Mendes, I'm not totally sold on at left back. I can't lie. I think he's very good technically, but has got, can get a little bit embarrassed as well defensively. But I think fullback defensively and Roberto Martinez are the question marks. But I think there's enough talent there technically, that midfield. And then if you get Ronaldo in a balanced team with
maybe to be the manager instead of Roberto Martinez, let him do the stuff.
That's what I was going to say.
Manager, that's what I was going to say. Ronaldo. I think Ronaldo will have a big tournament though, and you can't call me biased here when I say it because it does actually give me a bit of pain. This, but I have a feeling Ronaldo's going to respond to the Messi World Cup win. I really do. I think he's going to put so much into this tournament. I'm not going to accuse him of performance enhancers or anything like that, but that might be on the table, kind of thing. It might be on the table, boys. I'm not going to lie to you. He
wants to win this, doesn't he? He really needs to win this for him.
He needs to win it. He does need it for his legacy, and I've just got that feeling about it. And the only doubt I've got with this Portugal team is generally Roberto Martinez because it's similar. It's a very similar team to the Belgian one, actually.
Exactly.
Ronaldo is the manager.
It feels like a similar vibe to that. But I've just got a feeling with Leao, if Leao turns up and they're not messing around with people like João Felix, because João Felix is just he's a bit of a nothing player at times. I can't lie to you, lads. They've got to just stick with people like Leao and just allow them to do their thing and just stick Ronaldo in the box because no matter what you think of Ronaldo in terms of his all-round game these days, he will 100% get goals and be up there the top scorer. No question about it.
Do you want another name to look out for Portugal? João Neves in midfield.
Shout.
I tell you, I was going to say one player to watch out with. I know it's their maiden tournament, George, but obviously Kavica Kvaratskhelia, Kvaradona. Kvaradona, George. Yeah,
top player, isn't he?
Yeah, what a player.
Another one that went.
What are you linked with Leeds? I was just going to say,
of course.
Yeah. When it was
him and Guardiola on the left, it could have been Rafinha on the other side. We could have won the Champions
as well
League,
at one
lads.
point, wasn't it? Yeah, nice.
With Bielsa still in charge as well. Yeah, we'd have been there. We will be there. It'd have been nice. But obviously him to watch out for. Czech Republic, you got your Souček, your Soufal. I don't know what's going on at Turkey. Like someone mentioned earlier, they were everyone's outside pick last tournament and then absolutely bombed, didn't they? So, yeah, I think...
Patrick Schick, by the way, look out
Arda
for. I mean, he's not like an unknown name, but he's just got this big game gene about him. Patrick Schick for Leverkusen, and a lot of times he's come off the bench and got them.
He
big
scored
goals.
that worldie in the last tournament as well, right?
He had a great tournament last tournament.
Hampton, yeah, but they have some good players too. You know, they have the experience. Of course, they made it till the quarterfinals in the last Euros. You know, the Czech Republic. You know, they have Ložek too from Bayer Leverkusen. You know, also some good players. Slavia Prague, of course, very good side too. You know, so for example, Martin Vitic for Sparta. Then they have, of course, Ladislav Krejci, Jurasek. One that I mentioned at the start of the season when we talked about the right backs, you know, then he moved to Benfica now at Hoffenheim on loan. But yeah, overall, Barak too. I think like Hungary, like what I said with Hungary and Austria, they're a group that plays together for a long time now. So they are strong to play against. In terms of Turkey, I agree. I think they can be the dark horses again because this time they have some talents. They have Çalhanoğlu in terms of leadership. But the problem is that they were absolutely ravaged by injuries. So now my mind has changed on them. Of course, they have Arda Güler, for example. They have, again...
Tosun leading the line, is it?
Yeah, just Tosun at 33 still leading the line because Unal is injured. Kokcu, for example. But yeah, then they had to call up the usual suspects. You know, they have some upcoming good players like Kadioglu, for example, from Fenerbahce. But then again, you know, they are, for example... They had Kabak, Soyuncu injured, Unal injured. You know, all those players. You know, they withdrew because of injury. So now my mind just changed a bit, and they had to call up, for example, player like Yokuslu, Yazici, very good player. You know, but yeah, the experienced ones. You know, they were far better before, but they lost key players to injury. Yeah. And Georgia are there for the vibes, basically, because of
exactly.
Mikau Tadze, all those players. These two players, Kavetadze, but then the others are there for the vibes, you know.
Prague's the goat night out, so I'm going to say in Europe. So I'm going to say they've got to go through. They've got to go through for that reason. It's
for
an outrage
night
they don't
out.
get through.
I love that.
City with their £1 beer is just a legendary city, and it should always be rewarded.
I love that. Right. Let's get into it then. We've just gone through all the groups. We've mentioned players, right?
Yeah.
Let's go around. Let's do winners first of all. We'll start with Oscar and go around, and then obviously next round we'll start with Andrea and go around, and then Lockie, then me. So, who's your winner, Oscar, and reasons?
Just want it quick fire, or
give us a little bit of a reason why.
Well, I'm a massive fan of their manager, so I've gone with Portugal. Massive fan of the manager. Massive fan. I didn't say anything bad about the manager at all, but no, I've got the vibe with Portugal this time around. I just think I said about obviously the Ronaldo factor is there. I think he's just gonna have an amazing tournament. I think Leao is. I think he's got the big move potentially in his hands really. Bernardo Silva is probably maybe not last tournament, but probably last tournament at his absolute best. Vitinha, João Neves, as we've already mentioned as well. João Palhinha as well, in terms of holding that whole team together, is a massive player. I think Bruno Fernandes will have a great tournament. And yeah, it's just defensively where the question marks are. But I think Ruben Diaz, we know if Portugal need to drop deep like a traditional Portugal team would, they're willing to do that. They did that in Euro 2016. I think obviously we've always had this perception of Portugal being a very defensive team. Whenever England got knocked out by them, it was always on penalties, and Portugal playing for the penalties and the frustration, the heartache of a 8 or 10-year-old Oscar in 2004 and 2006 still lives on. Ronaldo
With
the
a
winker
wink.
kind of thing. We know.
Oh, it was horrible, wasn't it?
I
God.
hated him after that.
We know we can do the dark arts, and you got Bruno Fernandes there, Ruben Diaz, and these little things in knockout football do come to fruition. Pepe, the ultimate ghost of the dark arts,
51
kind of
years
thing.
old.
It's these little things, but this Portugal team can defend. It can drop deep if it needs to. It's willing to do that, but it has got that attacking edge to it. And to be fair to Roberto Martinez, as much as he does underperform traditionally, ever since Wigan really, he's always underperformed with the resources he's had available. Even you go back to Everton, I think he underperformed there as well. his teams do play good football, to be fair. They are on the front foot. I know his Belgium team underperformed, but I remember some of the goals he scored in that World Cup in Russia. I think Japan comes to mind on the counter-attack. They have got that quality to play that way. Whether that's just kind of vibes more than anything, rather than Roberto Martinez's brilliance, but he will allow him to play a little bit as well. And I think the good thing as well is that in the past, obviously with Fernando Santos, he's a different kind of coach to that kind of thing. He's a lot more... I think he's just a lot calmer, like the other end of the scale in that kind of regard. And I think that will probably play more to Ronaldo's hands. I think Ronaldo will be allowed basically any of the reins, really, in terms of what he wants to do. And I think the Portugal team obviously respects Ronaldo. And yeah, in my unbiased opinion, I just think, yeah, they've got enough players in there who can just produce moments. Cancelo, Leao, Ronaldo, Bruno Fernandes, Bernardo Silva, Vitinha. There's a lot of moments players in there, and there's a lot of quality in that midfield that can keep the ball as well. I've got a good feeling about Portugal. I actually hope I'm wrong, to be honest, because the thought of Ronaldo winning that tournament and then just retiring is... I just feel it. I just feel it coming, to be fair. They were very good last time in Germany as well, 2006. That was probably Ronaldo's first big tournament. I just have a feeling, football has a way of working like that. So I'm going to say Portugal.
There you go. Great shout from SKO. Says, think Belgium will win it. Hazard look class at Soccer Aid.
30 Soccer Aid is great. I loved him as a player, but that's a disgrace, that.
I know. Andrea, who's your pick, mate?
I'm going to say Portugal as well, honestly. Complete all around, I think Cristiano is going to have a great tournament because, we ask, ourselves, do they need them? Do they need him? Yeah, 100% they need him because, he's very selfish in club football, but in terms of international football, he's their leader, He's going to go down in the history of Portugal in terms of the great Portuguese people, and he's a leader. He's shown that at Euro 2016 and the other tournaments. He really cares about the people of Portugal in terms of the fans and all that. He's a leader. He's an inspiration for his teammates. So they look at him like a demigod, So... And he's doing well. He's in great shape in terms of form recently. So I think he's going to have a great tournament. But apart from Ronaldo, they are complete all around. In every department, in defense, in midfield and attack. So they even have a good keeper now in Diogo Costa because I don't think Rui Patricio will start. because he's been horrible for Roma. But yeah, Leao has the potential to have a great tournament if he's focused 100%. Because at AC Milan, if the ball doesn't get to him a lot, he gets lazy. He doesn't go back on defense. He has bad body language. But all around, totally complete. And I'm really intrigued to see Gonzalo Ignacio, João Neves, and Francisco Conceição. Really intrigued. But yeah, I think all around they are complete. So my pick for the win, for the trophy, is Portugal.
Okay, cool. Lockie?
It's hard. So I was originally going to go France and I was going to go England, but that's boring. So I'm going to switch up a little bit. I'm going to say the Netherlands. I love
that.
Netherlands.
Wow.
Yeah, a bit of a rogue one. I don't know. I'm just looking at the squad. It's a joke. Looking at the fullbacks, they've got Gerta Ride, they've got Dumfries, they've got Frimpong, all ridiculous fullbacks. The back three central defenders, if they play that. Dillit, Van Dijk, you've got Ake, De Vrij, Van de Ven. Like, that's a joke as a defence. And then you look at the midfield, and they're all solid performers. Got Ian Maatsen as well, another fullback for you there. All solid midfielders. That base,
told he was coming to
base.
Leeds once. Sorry.
And then, honestly, mate, the front, whatever they play, 3 or 4, is an absolute. There's so many players in that. Javi Simmons for me is an absolute joke. Could be the player of the tournament, genuinely. The pie in there. I said Frimpong, Marlon, Babé, Xerxes, and Bergwijn. Like, all them players of individuals are a joke. And I don't know. I don't go into too much detail because there's nothing to really go at. I just look at that side and just imagine them all playing together, and it just works for me. It works for me. And yeah, look, the manager's this, that, but I look at them players, the solid defense, solid midfield in front of them, and the front players will run havoc. And we're going to do it for the GOAT, Johan Cruyff. That's what they're going to do it for.
Before Joe goes, Joe's picks, I know this for a fact, you picked the last 2 international tournament winners.
Did I?
Yeah,
best
you
England.
you
Do know?
believed in Argentina from the off, and I thought, Joe, you're mad, mate. I've seen this Messi story enough times, and yeah, we had, and you definitely picked Italy as well.
Yeah, I did.
Say
I remember
Italy, say
picking-
Italy
yeah.
again, say Italy again.
I did pick
So,
Italy, bro. I
This
can
will be
remember
the-
doing
This
it.
will be the winner of the Euros.
Really? Well, that's not. God, because I do have a pick. I did have a pick that I prepared,
Go with your heart, Joe.
and
Go with it.
it was Portugal, right?
Okay.
But I almost feel like I don't want to go for Portugal anymore because you two went for Portugal, right? So, look, you two have done it all to a death, like the reasons as to why. Like, it's almost like they don't even need Roberto Martinez on the side. And did he do that bad with Belgium? And I would argue, yeah, but yeah, I don't know. But look, I'm gonna go with England, right? And the reason I'm gonna go with England, right, is because someone's got to, and it wouldn't be very just Joe of me if I didn't go for my team, right? Would it? So look, defensively, yeah, we're not great. Okay, the manager, there's question marks over him, but I just feel like everything's been building up to this moment. You cannot get away from the experience gained from some of the squad. But then again, when you think about the experience, you've ripped some of it out when you're taking away Phillips, you're taking away Henderson, you're taking away Maguire. There's the big Grealish even. There's that big tournament experience gone, really. Although you've got Kane, you've got Pickford, you've got Trippier, you've got Walker, so maybe it is still there. But I just feel like if we're going to do it, it has to be now. Do you know, it's perfectly set up. We've got, it's been said, best player in, the Liga Player of the Year, Bellingham. You've got German top scorer, 36 goals in fucking 34 games, whatever it was, Harry Kane. Phil Foden's been voted the best player in England. Outside of that, you've then got Cole Palmer, who's been phenomenal. You've got Saka, who always turns up for England. Rice, like you said before, is just phenomenal. So everything's there, right? So, yeah, defensively not great, and I do worry about Trent in midfield against the bigger nations, but then again, will he switch it up, because you don't want Griezmann messing around in there if we're going to play France and fucking Trent's like, what is going on, So, I don't know. Yeah, let's go England, although I do think, it could be Portugal, but I will go England.
It's wild that none of us have said France in it. So
yeah, it is wild.
Yeah, I was thinking. I thought I was going to be on my own saying Portugal.
Really?
I was kind of like thinking, I might be on my own a bit here, but no. To be fair enough.
Yeah, and Harry Kane, man, come on, man, he's got to do the biz, hasn't he? He's got to do the biz. Yeah. He's the best striker in the world, man. Fuck Haaland. Yeah. Like, he's the he's the best striker. Andrea, give us your dark
all I'm
horse,
saying,
bro.
Joe, is Haaland's eligible for England. He's born here.
Yeah.
Bench player, mate. Behind Ollie Watkins. Third choice.
Might be getting. I seen thing about Elise coming to England as well. That'd be all right, wouldn't it?
Yeah. I mean, it would be. It would be. France have enough players. They might as well give us some as well. Right.
Just do what they did with Laporte. Just edit the passport a little bit. Just say, you might as well play, lads. You might as well play, son.
Name slightly.
Yeah, exactly. Andrea, right? Let's do dark horses, mate.
Dark horses. In terms of how far they can progress in the tournament, I'm gonna say Austria. Honestly, I think they're gonna, if they get through, they have a chance to get till the semi-finals. Honestly, either them or Hungary or Turkey. But yeah, I think Austria is the most likely one to progress more forward.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Lockie.
Yeah. I was going to go Austria. Yeah, I think they're a really well coached side. They've done really well since Rangnick's been there. The players that you can see when they play, their style is like they press really high. Probably different to most teams at the tournament in that sense. Yeah, good team. Definitely Austria for me. I
had Austria down as well, folks. It's almost Austria.
Full house, boys.
Full house. We've all gone Austria.
I'll just throw out Serbia as well. I think Serbia, I know it's horrible saying that because they're in our group, but I just think Mitrovic, Vlahovic, Milinkovic, Savic, it just feels like they've got the potential to play some really good football there. But I think Scotland are a little bit of a dark horse because it'll be the first time they get into the knockout stages.
Dark horse to get out of group.
Yeah. I actually think they'll do it. I've just got that feeling.
Yeah, maybe, mate, maybe. I hope they do it, by the way. I'd love them to
Yeah.
beat Scotland on Friday, I can't lie. Germany, sorry, not beat themselves.
Imagine England Scotland in the quarterfinals. I think that
That'd be
can
nice,
happen, can't
wouldn't
it?
Yeah.
Can that happen?
I don't know, mate. It's
think
them
By the way,
third.
on Friday, come on Scotland on Friday.
Yeah, I want them to do it, man. I do.
Nah.
We don't like the Germans, so come on Scotland. Go on Scotland.
Lockie
Alba, go
just
back.
hates Scotland because of one player, and it's John McGinn when he lynched Archie Gray.
Fair
And
shout.
from that moment,
Didn't even say
he
sorry.
hates it.
Didn't say sorry. Friendly 16-year-old kid. Unbelievable.
Yeah, he did.
I mean,
He
Scott
did proper
McTominay's
put him
not
in
the
the
most likable lad in the world either, is he? Let's be honest. Yeah,
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 Liam
actually,
Cooper,
yeah. Scotland
Sunday-
top.
And they like Warner there, Lockie.
Yeah.
Let's do Golden Boot now. I don't think we'll have a clean sweep
Ooh.
here for everyone. Let's do Lockie. You're first up with the Golden Boot.
It's one or two. I'm gonna go with. Sorry, I've got a list here. I'm trying to find the right one. Yeah, you know what? I'm gonna go rogue. I'm gonna go Openda. Why not?
Okay. So
Better player.
Better
starting.
yeah. So I've actually gone with a Belgium, right? And it was a toss-up between two of them, and it weren't a Pender. And I just think because the majority of the top goal scorers come from scoring bare goals in the groups, right? From scoring all the goals in the groups, and if they progress a bit. So I've gone for a Belgian player as well, and it was a toss-up between Doku or Lukaku, because I think Doku in the group will absolutely smoke it. But I am going to go with Lukaku, just because I think he will start. And in the group, okay, we've seen what he did in the last tournament when he missed all them sitters, didn't he? But I just think in the group, he'll absolutely smash it. So I think gets enough in the group, and then maybe they progress past the last 16 into the quarters. He maybe get one or two there, and I think that'll see him get, 5, 6, 7 goals or something? I don't know. I think against Georgia and that Belgium will smash them. So I think Lukaku for me. Oscar, to you, mate.
I've gone for the best striker in the world, Mr. Harold Kane.
Love that.
I've got a
Love
feeling. I think if England's goals, are mostly going to come through Bellingham and Kane, but I think Kane will be the one who gets the goals for England. If we're going to go far in the tournament, we need a big tournament from Harry Kane. I think he's just getting better and better. Even now he's got to an age, 31, where you think there should be a bit of a drop off. I think he's just getting better and better. To be honest, I think he's at least matched what Lewandowski was doing in the Bayern Munich shirt in terms of taking over from Lewandowski at Bayern. So that puts him in good stead. The fact that he's gone to a club with higher expectations, and despite Bayern obviously not getting that trophy, and yeah, that's obviously another story. But listen, Harry Kane was fantastic. Harry Kane had Bayern competing for trophies. That Bayern team was washed, let's be honest. And I think obviously Mbappe is one that will probably be the favourite for it, I'd imagine, without looking at the odds. But the thing I'd say about Mbappe is I think he's definitely better on the left than he is in the centre forward position. And I think he will kind of rotate between the two, and that might not be the best for his goal involvements kind of thing. I think he's better suited to just playing all the games on the left, like he did at the World Cup, playing off Giroud. But I do think France will probably swap things around a bit. You know, I said about Saliba and Canate. I can see a similar thing up top as well. So I'm going to go Harry Kane. And the other thing as well is, how poetic would it be if Harry Kane gives Bayern their first ever trophy this season and then wins his first trophy for England in Germany? He'd have to leave Bayern Munich. He'd have to leave Bayern Munich if that happened. It's like Maradona in Italia 90. He would have to leave the club. He would literally get booed, but it'd be poetic. But I've got a feeling Kane as well, he's been around he's done it so many times, won golden boots and been right up there. Consistent performer for England. Harry Kane, top scorer.
Fair. I think that's a fair shout. Andrea, over to you, my man, for your top scorer.
Gonna back one of our players, Gianluca Scamacca. I know he didn't do well at West Ham, but as you see in the Europa League, Gasperini at Atlanta has completely transformed him. Looked very sharp in the friendly that he played against Bosnia. And yeah, he looked like he was the player that he was in recent times at Atlanta. He's very good in leading the line, very good in connecting with the two players behind him, especially also getting the through ball with them, 1-2 touches. So he's very good with his finish. He around now he wasn't at West Ham, so when he came, honestly.
Sorry, we lost that last bit, mate. Sorry, what did you say?
Scamacca.
Yeah. Oh no, we got that bit. We got that bit, just that last bit.
know that
Yeah, we got the important bit.
yeah, another round player now because he has
Yeah.
transformed the Gasperini, so he's very good in connecting with the two players behind him. Also going for the ball, 1-2 touches, play the ball in behind, or very good finishing and first touch. He doesn't. When he has the chance to shoot on goal, he shoots. Yeah.
Fair.
It's fair. Be out
Right.
that.
Yeah. Let's right, we've done Golden Boot then. Let's do player of the tournament. And I know he's been mentioned on a number of occasions, and obviously I did think they might win it, but I have gone for England. But I am going to go for Bruno Fernandes. I think that he will, like you said, Oscar, I think he will have a very, very good tournament. I do expect Portugal to go very deep, if not win it. I'm not sure if we can meet them, but I mean, if that could be your final, it could be France-Portugal. I think we probably meet France on the way in, I think.
So, most likely semi-final is probably, from what I've worked, I think France is the likely semi-final. Portugal's more likely the final. If we all top our groups, that is.
Yeah, of course. So I could see Bruno Fernandes, like you mentioned earlier, having a very good tournament, unfortunately, because I can't stand him, but he's a top quality player. And look, he drags Man United through at times, and at Portugal, he's got everything else around him to help him. Do you know what I mean? Like we've said, he doesn't have to do it on his own, does he? Really? So I think Bruno Fernandes isn't a bad shout, so I'm going to go for him. Oscar, to you, player of the tournament.
There's something I'd say about this. I'll just give you one answer first of all. If Portugal win it, I just got a feeling, even if he doesn't have a great tournament, they'll give it to Ronaldo. Because we know how it kind of works in this kind of thing. We've seen it before with these players. I mean, Donnarumma suddenly, I didn't think he was anywhere near Italy's best player. Obviously, had a great semi-final and final, but I thought there was far better performing Italian players. It does feel like there's a little bit of emotion behind who wins player of the tournament, but I don't think he will be the best player at the tournament. But I'm mixed between two. Leao or quite a rogue on this, Toni Kroos. I've got a feeling he's going to have a really, really good tournament. In terms of his performances in the big games, is absolutely fantastic. And I don't think Germany will quite win it. But I'm going to go overall. I'm going to say Rafa Leao. If he is on it in this tournament, he could easily be Portugal's best player. But Fernandes is a good shout as well. I'll go Leao.
Andrea?
I can go Ronaldo. Honestly, I think he's in good shape, good form. I think he's going to have a good tournament. We've seen against Ireland that he's in good shape for his age. He's the experienced player. He knows what it takes to play in a European tournament. It's 2004, 2008, 2012, 2016, 2020. So it's like it's €50. I think it's like a record, this one, honestly. Yeah.
Oh, is that for the most appearances at Euros?
Yeah, I think it's a record for the most appearances.
They'll probably fucking give it him for that then, won't they? Do you know what I mean? They'll give him for that alone, man.
Yeah, 2004, 8, 12, yeah, 5th. No, 6th, actually. No.
Yeah, wow.
2004, 2008, 20... No, 5th. So yeah, I think he's gonna have a good tournament, especially like what Oscar said before. He wants to answer about what Messi did at the World Cup too. It would be massive for Portugal to get the second European Championship. They never won a trophy before the 2016, then they won the Nations League. Of course, it's a worthless probably trophy, but it's still a trophy. You get the habitude of winning then, and I think Ronaldo. If Portugal win it, Ronaldo, yeah.
Imagine if the Ballon d'Or ends up, say, if Messi wins the Copa America and Ronaldo wins the Euros. Everyone's talking about Vinicius, Mbappe, Bellingham. It's finally over. The Messi-Ronaldo era is no more. The Ballon d'Or is exciting again. And then it's just basically between Messi and Ronaldo again.
It wouldn't surprise you, would it? Lockie, your player of the tournament, mate.
Will we be doing a young player quickly after?
Yes, we are going to do.
Right,
yeah.
That affects. Right. So what I was going to go with Leao as well. I think that's a great shout, but I'm going to say Rodri. I think Rodri's just obviously he's got that experience. If Spain do well, I think he's so key to that. And he's the type of player as well. He's known by the media. He's very popular. Again, talking about if he has a good tournament, Spain do well, and I can see Rodri just having a moment where he gets a last-minute goal or been key in shutting someone out in like a semi-final or something like that. I think he's an outstanding player, Roger. Like Oscar said, he's one of the best in the world in his position, if not the. You could probably add one of the best players in that sense. He's ridiculous. Yeah, like I don't think there's any more to say. Rodri, I think, is unbelievable.
Do you know what I can't wait for Rodri, right? Is where Albania shit house a 1-0 win and he just comes out and goes, "This is not football. It's not football." Yeah, that's what he loves to do, doesn't he? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
he's fucking Pep as a player. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, God, yeah.
Do you know? Sorry, mate. Yeah. Rodri for you? Yeah, okay. Oscar, it's back to you. Young player of the tournament, my man.
I'm going Yamal. I think Spain will turn up at this tournament. I don't think they're going to go get to a final, but a semi-final could be on, or a quarter-final. But I think either way, Yamal will do enough where it's just like I think he's the best for me, the best player, young player in the world at this moment in time. Even though he's 16, I genuinely do believe the talent level is that high. Other players that just shout out is obviously Pedri. Still would actually come under the young player potential. So Pedri's definitely one, and Florian Wirtz, I think it's got to be one as well if Germany do well. But I'll say Yamal, because I just think the way he's performed in the Champions League and the Liga, he really has got this tournament at his feet potentially.
Good. I look forward to watching him.
Watch him totally flop now, and then Dani Olmo in after game 2.
100%. Getting me fantasy points. Andrea, over to you, man.
Florian Wirtz for Germany. I think he's key. And Germany will go far, at least the semi-finals, then lose again probably like they did in 2006, you know. So honestly, he's key, vital. We've seen what he can do for Bayer Leverkusen. Bayer Leverkusen is a complete player, you know, all around. He can have a great impact. Looking at the way football is played right now in terms of the intensity, the rhythm, the way this tournament is going to flow in terms of the tactics, very similar in terms of teams face each other, and especially the top teams, you know, they're very similar to each other. And against especially, for example, Scotland, you know, they will try to sit back and counter-attack. Wirtz would be key because he's a proper, you know, number 8/10, you know. So exactly what we missed this season at Leeds, yeah.
You saying we signed Florian Wirtz in this summer? Is that what you're telling me?
No, we already have Brandon Aronson now, so
don't get Jones on the hype train. He's fully on that hype train.
Oh, he's the
driver. He's not even on the hype train. He's the conductor.
You wait to see him light up the Copper America Aronson, I'm telling you. Lockie, your young player of the tournament, my man.
There's a few here that I was thinking. Guardiol, obviously, at centre-back. If Croatia do well, he could be part of that. Musiala for Germany, again, a top player. But I'm going to go, and I promise I'm not his agent, Xavi Simons. I think the Netherlands will do well, and if they do, it will because he performs and he does really well. And like I said, I watched him this year when I went to watch him at Leipzig at the Etihad against City, and even though they got battered, every touch he had was ridiculous. You know, I've tried to watch a bit of him, and he's what you call a beautiful footballer. You know what I mean? You can tell he's Dutch. You can tell he's been through Barcelona when he was young. You know, you can see that in him. And honestly, I know Oscar was saying earlier about wanting him to go to Barca. That'd be an unbelievable thing. Now he's developed. I think that'd be class.
He can't stay at PSG. It's such. Don't let him stay at a soulless club like PSG.
Agree.
For goodness' sake.
Yeah. So for me, I think this is his tournament now to really stamp his name. He's had a good season, and he's going to top it up with. He's still 21 years old with an unbelievable tournament, and that's going to really get his name out there for me.
Yeah, I think my young player of the year has to go to Jude. He's going to have to go.
I forgot he's still obviously he's only 20, isn't
mad.
he?
I keep forgetting the England
mental.
players. We can say them.
Yeah.
I keep forgetting we can say them. Yeah.
If England are to do well, Jude will have had to have played amazing. So I think Jude's. I think we as a nation now are all just looking to him as well. Like, get Jude in the side. Why did we get beat by Iceland? Oh, there was no Jude. Don't worry, Jude's got it. Like, he's that good and that important already. So I think if England are to have a good tournament. The fact that there's all the hype around him as well in Europe and everything, I just think as well he's a bit like, like people were saying earlier, England are arrogant, Jude's got none of that. Jude's just like loved. So I think if he has a good tournament, that'll stand him in good stead as well. So I think, young player of the tournament for me would would go, or hopefully does go to Jude. Yeah, clean sweep, win player, young player, we win tournament, something like that. That'd be nice. But yeah, I think
you said England through all your answers, don't you? I think.
no. Well, no, I was going to go
Lukaku.
Portugal. Yeah, I said Portugal, Lukaku. I said Bruno Fernandes and Bellingham
True.
for young players. So, yeah. If them two hadn't have gone Portugal, I probably would have gone Portugal winner as well. But I just wanted to switch it up. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, I've gone Bellingham. But yeah, that's us locked off. Like we were gonna do working out the groups, but I feel like, I mean, we've been going there for 2 hours and 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Well, I want to
Yeah,
break
Lord of the
down
Rings
Uruguay
film.
going into the Copa America now. To be
exactly.
fair, I've got my notes out of Bielsa. 2:00 in the morning games.
I know.
Can't
Yeah.
wait.
I can't wait for that as well. But yeah, I think I've had a lot of fun. It's been
It's
great,
different
hasn't
from
it?
Leeds, isn't it? It's good.
Yeah,
to
it's
have
nice.
something that's not
It's
Leeds.
been nice. It's been nice.
Yeah.
Big up to everyone who stayed with us as well.
Euros are better than World Cups. Remember that.
Yeah, 100%. The quality's better, isn't it?
Yeah,
I think the quality's
exactly.
far better. Yeah, the quality's far
Exactly.
better. One thing I did notice, and you mentioned it as well, Lockie, in any of our picks, we've got no French representative. So that's not good. I think that's not a good sign. Like, we've not got any in the players, young players. We've got, so, yeah.
Oh dear.
France have won enough. They've won enough.
Yeah,
they
they
have,
are.
haven't they? Yeah,
Don't
yeah.
get greedy. Yeah,
Don't
we
need to
can't
say
get
them.
greedy here. It's just, I mean,
There's going to be a shock as well, Like
We
when
all
France
know
got beat by
France, yeah.
Switzerland, for example. There will be a mad shock.
yeah, definitely.
There will be. There will be. Hopefully it's not England flopping.
That's what I mean. No, if
That would be a
England
shock,
flop
yeah.
in that first game, it could actually unravel a
exactly.
bit like I always talk about World Cup 2010 because that's the one that everything about that tournament was off. I remember Rooney telling the fans to F off after the second game.
Yeah.
Live
Algeria,
on TV.
Algeria. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was a
That's his-
great
yeah,
call, was it? Great
yeah.
call, that one.
Swearing
mate.
at your own fans and all that, wasn't it?
Got the fans back on side. They paid like $5,000 to go to the games. You're telling us. It just feels, honestly, I've got that horrible feeling, lads. If we, obviously, if we do drop the ball in that first game, I just have a feeling it could unravel a little bit. I'm not saying we've got in the groups, but we might finish second in the group, and then all of a sudden we've got a really difficult last 16 game, and it could really, or it could go the other way. If we win well in that first game, it could actually, go say similar way to Euro 2021 or World Cup at 2018, where maybe not the most excitement
Do
going
you know
into
what we
it.
need? What we did to Iran in the World Cup? What was
Yeah.
the score in there? Was it smash them
Statement.
4 or something? Yeah, was it
6-2.
4?
6-2 we did them.
Was it 6-2?
Still managed to
Fucking
concede
see how
2,
bad my
like,
memory
but,
is. Yeah, exactly. Because Locke, sorry, I always get... Locke still owes me £50, by the way, for that. Yeah, he does, man. Because we battered Iran, and he was like, Wales will batter them. I went, no, they won't. But yeah.
Was that 2-0 Iran, that game?
Yeah, they beat them, didn't they? Yeah, I loved
Yeah.
it. I went fucking mad. I think I lost some subscribers that day. Some of my Welsh fans were like, "You're out of order." I was like, "Chill out, man."
But that was
Anyway,
pre-road on, and I mean, I tell you what, if Wales were in this tournament instead of Scotland, I would actually be full on the Wales hype train. I'd be genuinely wanting Wales to win it.
They got beat by Poland, didn't they? So which group did they beat?
They'd have been much better shout than Poland, in
Yeah,
the
I
tournament.
agree. I agree.
They dominated
Yeah.
that game, and
Yeah,
that would have been the.
they'd have been in with France and Netherlands and Austria, so they probably
They'd
would have
given it
finished
a better
bottom
go
of the
than
group.
Poland. I do stand by that.
Still
Yeah,
finished
they've got
bottom
no
of the
point.
group though.
No, Joe Rodon will do a job on Mbappe. No problem.
Joe Rodon sprinting backwards.
Yeah, exactly. We did have some questions. Like your boy asked this, Andre. I said I'd save it for him. Andrea Pinamonti. Do you know much about him?
Pinamonti. Yeah. I know about him. Yeah, leave him where he is. Don't cause nothing. He scores, but yeah, terrible. I don't like him, honestly. I don't like him. He's too static. He's like Vlahovic. He's like the Wish Vlahovic, basically. I don't like how he plays, honestly. And also the attitude that he had. 2 years ago when they called up Reteg, he said, "Oh, I was worthy a look." Why? Not playing well. He's a very modest player, not Championship or Premier League material. I think he's gonna move probably to Monza or another Serie A club now.
Okay. Radiby Lead says very off topic, but how do we feel about Phil here?
Sad.
Do you know what I think? the maddest thing for me was, if you look at his tweet, like the amount of interactions that's had, is
Yeah.
fucking insane. So it just shows you how big of a dent or like big of an impact he's had on Leeds United fans. But not only that, obviously the wider footballing world as well. Like in UK anyway, like gonna be missed for sure.
Absolutely. He's a legend, isn't he? I said that to you, didn't I? I said, isn't it wild how much a fan base misses a journalist? What other club in the world is?
Yeah.
There's probably not many in this country for sure that do that. Yeah, he's a legend. He's been here through the dark times as well. He's always been there, hasn't he? What a legend.
Yeah, it's like a family member for all Leeds fans, because in the end, where do you go if you want to have transfer news, to fill profile, any news fill, and all of that, So absolutely, I tweeted something under the post, about the fact that, especially for fans abroad, him, Graham Smith, Adam Pope, John Donoghue, all those journalists, and it's really, really good to see because, they are really rated and respected by the Leeds fans, because of the work they do, because how do they transfer what they know about the club, what they know about what's going on to the fans. In Italy, it's different. Many journalists get, attacked or insulted, and that doesn't happen in England. No. They are very well respected. And it's great to see Phil. It's been a great source for me throughout the years in terms of knowing things, about the Leeds world. So absolutely very sad. I think he can, like Guardiola says, we can't replace him. We cannot replace him. We cannot replace him.
We cannot replace him.
We cannot.
What's that quote he made about Leeds isn't for you or something like that? Unbelievable quote.
Yeah.
It's just his way with words. I mean, you just read it. I mean, obviously in terms of the news source, but in terms of the actual writing as well, in terms of actually being able to set the scene, I don't think anyone does it better. Honestly, especially on the Athletic, does it better than what Phil Hay does in that kind of regard.
True.
And as you said, Joe, the interaction in that tweet, I've seen rival fans even comment, Reddit stuff. That sums up.
Even the second tier said he's the best journalist since we started this podcast and all that sort of stuff.
He's the best journalist in England for me. I genuinely do think I can't think of anyone that kind of compares.
I do like Henry Winter. Henry Winter.
I was thinking Henry Winter, but I think I still give the edge to Phil Hay. I think he's had a much more difficult job as well.
He's done it the right way, hasn't he? You know,
it's it. You look at like say the Chilino days. It's a very, very difficult gig, in terms of trying to keep it professional, even though everything around it is incredibly unprofessional. But
Chilino wanted to ban him.
Exactly.
Where he said the fans were chasing Chilino in a car.
That's that legendary tweet.
What a club.
Yeah. Like 18 seasons as well.
Yeah.
That's a joke.
Yeah, that's
25 years old. 25, he said he was 25 when he started, but I think it was like a joke, because it's like, what is like now. No,
18 seasons, man.
No, what's his age now?
Andre put the quote in the chat. That's the one I was talking about.
Yeah.
Let's see Phil age, Phil age.
But that's mad though. 18 seasons, that's unheard of. He needs a testimonial, doesn't he? Needs a testimonial. I don't know how that looks or what you would do. Like not a football match, obviously. I mean, I don't know. Maybe a football
just
match.
A write-a-thon kind of thing.
Yeah. Right.
Gets computers out and it's
the old write piece
out. And it's a type-a-thon kind of thing.
No. He was 25 years old. Now he's 44 when he's.
Wow.
He said.
Wow.
Yeah, he said I don't know if it's something to start, the piece, but he said I was 25 when I started covering Leeds United. I also had air. I'm not saying the job has put years on me, but I remember a supporter telling me once that to pass the time on the way to a game, the boss he was on had a go at guessing my age. Somebody went with 60. I turned 44 in 4 months. So that's the start of his piece,
He is a wild take. Well, this is just off piece, but an exclusive from Ben Jacobs. Al Shabab have added Aubameyang and Shea Adams to their list of targets. Shea Adams to Saudi. There you go, Shea Adams to Saudi. Bit of a mad one. If you're looking for a new Phil, just let me know. Yeah.
Your unbiased opinion, George.
Yeah. Have you noticed that Twitter have made a change as well now? Your likes are now private.
Yeah. You can like whatever you want now.
Like to Leeds page now. Damn it.
Yeah, that means you can like, you know, them tweets that go and say nudes in bio. It means I can like them tweets.
Yeah,
now.
yeah. I can do
Do you know
that
what I
now.
mean?
I can't comment on them, which is a shame, but I can like them, kind of thing.
I've seen when you tweeted in French, and there was
Oh
one
man,
guy
it
in
was
French.
so funny. I tweeted in French and they actually responded in French. More nudes in bio. I was like, oh, I put translate and then I clicked. I was like, fucking hell. It was so funny, man. Oh god, yeah, mental. But yeah, likes are private now.
Big move, that. Big move.
It's a big.
Here we go.
Now these make
Elon Musk for
follow
the win.
private as well
I
now.
still don't know if I
Yeah,
trust that, though. I still don't know if I trust that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
I
it's
still-
a bit mad.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, it's a bit bad if all of a sudden it becomes public again and you're like,
After you've liked,
That's what I mean. That's what I mean. I'm
"Like,
not sure about that one.
this one."
people liking all sorts, right wing posts, thirsty nudes, everything, and then it's like game over. Oh god, mental. I am learning Spanish again. Nuevo portero. Is necessary. I'm not sure what the last two words are, mate.
I know.
Go on.
No sabe porque ya teníamos a Melier, pero yeah, I agree.
Okay, is this
Soy
in
de
what-
acuerdo por un nuevo portero.
is this in Italian?
No, it's in
Oh,
Spanish.
it's a Spanish, yeah. So what's nuevo?
Nuevo, new. Portero,
Goalkeeper.
goalkeeper, but you can say also arquero. In South America, they say
Okay.
arquero.
I heard
Yes,
you
I
say
say-
Melier, so I clicked it was a goalkeeper. I
Yeah.
didn't just yeah.
Yeah, I said that we have Melier, but yeah, I agree. I think we need a good new goalkeeper too.
Can you speak Spanish?
I've never studied it, but yeah, my sister studied it at school. That she did languages school, so I was listening and yeah, I started watching things. So it's very similar to Italian in certain things. So I can.
Can we
speak a
have a
bit of it.
convo? Because I've
Let's
been
try.
learning.
Let's try. ¿Cómo estás, Joe? ¿Cómo estás? ¿Estás bien? ¿Todo
Uh,
bien?
Oh god, slow down, bro. Slow down, right?
Okay.
Una-
¿Cómo estás, Joe?
¿Cómo
¿Cómo-
estás? ¿Cómo estás means
How
how
are
are
you?
you? Yeah,
Yeah.
how are you? But you say bueno, right?
Bueno, gracias.
Yeah, but bueno, gracias. ¿Tú hablas español?
Sí, un poquito de español, italiano, francés,
He's
inglés.
laughing. Okay.
eh,
Sí. Yeah.
Esos son los idiomas que hablo un poco, ya.
I'm
that
trying, man.
I
that
got
must have been
round
Louis speaks
Barcelona with
French.
one phrase. One
Mr. Bean
phrase.
speaks
Hola, dos caña, por favor.
I can do.
This is for Oscar. Bona tarda, Oscar. Benvinguts a Barcelona. Catalan.
Do you support Barcelona?
No,
No.
but
No.
I support Catalunya.
Okay.
Good man.
So
good
I
man.
get
He
go.
knows.
Yo soy estudio español.
Sí, bueno. Perfecto.
Gracias. Perfecto. Ah,
De
yeah,
nada, de
man.
nada.
We're going.
Nada, estamos hablando en esta
Yeah.
buena noche.
Buena
The English,
noche.
the English kicks in when you speak Spanish. That's the mad thing, you know.
Yeah. Buena noche. I
I
know
was
that one.
saying buena noche, yeah, like a LA night, yeah. It's kicking in.
Yeah. He'd just go, see?
Yeah, Spain.
See?
There's a Joey Barson French accent kind of thing, and just just get through it like that.
It is mad, you know, Spain, because they have a variety of languages. You know, they have Catalan, Basque. You know, Basque, I know, Erskeri, Casco, thanks, Zorionak, like happy birthday, I think it is. Catalan, Catalan, Gallego, the Galician one. Yeah, many dialects.
It's all part of the ploy to go full Lee Gunner and just move to Spain Do you know what I mean? I'm going full Lee Gunner. I'm just following him out to Spain. No, I honestly, I would love to go. I love Spain. Spain is such a nice place.
That's my dream work.
What
It's
was
such a nice
the chant that I made for you when you were in Spain? Let's find it.
I can't remember, man.
I know the
was like-
Dembele chant from Barca fans, but I cannot repeat that on this. I cannot repeat that.
Yeah, I just keep Duolingo every day, man. Bing, bing, bing. I'm learning, man.
Is it good, that app?
Yeah, it's brilliant, mate.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'll give it a go. Just give it a go.
Give it a
It's,
go. It's just gamified, man.
No,
So
it-
it like gets you a little bit addicted, man, because it's all
yeah.
just a bit like Candy Crushy. Like I don't know, I'm a bit ADHD, man. So when it makes sounds and says click this, play this, I'm like, and then before you know it, I've done an hour of Spanish. Do you know what I mean? So
Yeah, Joe, it was like, we've got women, Super Joe women. I just don't think you'll understand. He went to sunny Spain to sign some Need for Leeds. We've got Super Joe women.
yeah, I didn't even realize. So for some reason, I had it in my head that Firpo was born in Malaga,
No, he
brought
moved
up in
there.
Malaga,
Yeah,
and then I
brought up.
put that brought up in Malaga. It was right.
Yeah.
I knew this because
Is
then
that
I
where you
put
were,
it out.
Malaga?
Yeah, I went Malaga. Yeah.
Oh, what a city! What a city
Beautiful.
that is, mate.
Beautiful. And then someone said, "Well, you're in the wrong country. It's Dominican." And I was like, "No, he was brought up in Spain, but he's got." But then I googled it, and he was actually born in Dominican. Didn't click. I felt like a right tit after the fact.
But did you tell him he's effing magic and don't you effing know?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But yeah, beautiful city, man. Beautiful city. Yeah.
Barcelona is.
I've been Barcelona as well.
You've
Nice
been,
as
yeah,
amazing.
right.
Yeah.
It's like a party 24 hours,
Stop
Yeah.
saying places I
Barcelona.
can't afford, people.
To be fair, it's
Benidorm. Go to Benidorm. You can
Benidorm.
afford that. Venice is wild.
Benes, Magaluf, Mallorca. Just you can't go wrong in Spain.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's just
we've
really
moved.
warm
We
as
moved
well.
from the teams to the places now. The
I
European
know.
leagues.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
places.
yeah.
Just don't
There's
go
a
to
bit-
Madrid though. Madrid, Tories. Don't go to Madrid.
Oh, really? Because I've never been, Oscar. And
Nah,
I
I'm
was
only
saying to my
joking.
girl, I
It's
would
a
like
nice
to
city.
go. You know what I mean?
Nice city, Madrid. To be fair.
Yeah, I bet it's a lovely place. To be fair, expensive though, I'd imagine.
Yeah, that's like say, I wouldn't say quite London prices because nothing's London prices.
I want to go to London, do it.
Yeah, it's I still think that Wembley weekend has wiped me out for the next couple of months, lads. And I'd love to say it was worth it, but yeah,
7-hour car ride back. No, thank you.
Crazy. Right, I think listen. We could stay and chat all night. Maybe we'll do our predictions of the thing another night. But like I say, the Euro starts on Friday anyway. Pinned in the chat, folks. You've got the Fantasy Dream Team. Join it. I'm going to be doing like a Euros breakfast show, 9 a.m. every morning, just chatting about the games that are coming ahead. Join me for that. Join me for the watch-alongs. Make sure you check out Oscar on All Leeds TV. Make sure you check out Andrea on Twitter, and of course, our man Lockie at Lockie Leeds been doing some great transfer linked videos, and a specific shout out for the Aaron someone. If you want to know why Brendan's going to be the player of the year in the championship next season, go watch that video. And we'll see you in a bit, man. Thanks as always for watching, everyone. Big up to you all.